September 1st, 12:25. I'm about to go golfing, so I'll be leaving the premises in
Check out the shorts too.
This rolls right into a plug for the boxing again, then a plug for the song again, then back to a merch plug again, 2 more plugs for the song, then another plug for the live tour, then a long merch plug. That's 23 separate ad reads built into one video. Out of a 13-minute and 50-second video, nearly 7 minutes of that time is devoted to advertising products. 50%. Now, remember our numbers here. 17.5%. and 20%. And Jake understands and leans into heavy repetition as a principle of advertising. Watch how he describes it here when talking to Vice.
I think you have to market to them a ton of times to like make sure that they're like remind.
So if you haven't heard, Nerd City, which is an excellent YouTube channel, completely busted out one of the biggest YouTubers named Jake Paul. If you've watched my channel for any time at all, you've heard me talk about Jake Paul because he's one of the bigger YouTubers, growing the biggest. He markets to I heard Jake Paul today say he markets to 8-year-olds to 15-year-olds. So, you know, he's trying to get a young audience. A lot of people have problems with this. Well, take a look at what Nerd City found out. Jake Paul most likely is breaking the law big time with every one of his videos. No joke. I thought it was bullshit at first, but watch.
Reminded of what message you want.
Some of you are gonna say, why would we care about Jake Paul? Because this sets a precedence across YouTube. It basically means they're gonna be challenged for Jake to get in trouble for this, and then will other YouTubers then get in trouble as this concept rages through. You know that whole thing where people get away with a lot on YouTube until someone takes it way too far, and then a boatload of people go down. A lot of people think that's gonna happen. I'll talk to you about it afterwards, though.
To push to them.
The words are artificially jammed into the sentences he says.
Trying to get me to bring him on tour so that he could yodel like that on tour.
We can say that Optimus Prime, by virtue of just being on screen and being a toy, was shilling toys for Hasbro. But these constant calls to action directly from Jake are an advertising hell in children's programming. Worse than anything we've ever seen on TV. We heard him say it, he admitted it, but Jake is clearly making content for children, with behavior like a rowdy child and added cartoon sound effects.
So what it comes down to is, in order to protect kids, cartoons or programming targeted towards kids cannot have more than 17% advertising, I guess, in one video, movie, commercial, or you know, show. Okay, cartoon. Jake Paul, Nerd City did some calculations on Jake Paul, and he was over 60%. Now think about that, right? You've got a 13-minute video, so half that's 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're talking out of 13 minutes, almost 7.5 to 8 minutes are advertising, targeting towards kids. Now Jake Paul last year bragged about making $50 million. So he's really doing this. There's also a law, though. Remember when you would watch Transformers? Remember when you were a kid? Transformers comes on and you'd watch it. You'd never see a Transformers commercial, and you're like, weird. Remember when you'd watch Pokemon? You don't ever see Pokemon commercials during Pokemon. Well, it turns out that's a law. That's actually a law. Now, it's a little different with vloggers and internet celebrities, but since basically YouTube's the new TV, is it any different? That's the question being asked. Take a quick look, because we're getting through this really quick.
Then he spent,
you know, we got a lot more to talk about.
And half the time of the video telling children what to buy.
So if you want to win $500, $250, or $100, then go to the website right now. Get yourself some Team 10 tour tickets, cop yourself some of the new drop.
But another prohibited tactic that Jake employs is to tell kids to tell their parents what to buy. That's called Pester Power, and it's illegal under the Unfair Commercial Practices Directive of the...
Whoa, you gotta be kidding me. Pester Power? That can't be real. That cannot be real, dude. No, not Pester Power show. I swear, Google, you suck anymore. The ability of children to nag adults, especially to influence their parents to make certain purchases. What? This is real? Holy shit.
The European Union. Jake actually even goes a step further in some of his videos. In the Christmas song, where the chorus was literally buy that merch over and over.
Buy that merch. Buy that merch. Buy that merch. Buy that merch. Buy that merch.
Jake instructs the viewer to tell their parents to buy.
Must buy Jake Paul merch. I'm just kidding. I won't do that anymore.
Buy all his merch.
Go tell your mama she gotta buy it all.
Imagine for a moment if host selling and advertising to children had never been regulated. How much that would have diminished children's programming in the past.
This is so good. This is so good.
Buy that merch. Buy that merch. Buy that.
Okay, I don't want to take any of his content. Okay, that's about where it stops. So then it goes into show where Jake Paul did a skit for Halloween, or maybe not for Halloween. He just did this video where these clowns break into Jake Paul's house, and this all looks real. So they go up to him and they kidnap him. They threaten to stab their dog. They beat them with baseball bats while Jake Paul's in bed. And these are like murderous looking evil killer clowns, y'all. Inside Nerd City's video, Parents' Worst Nightmare, Jake Paul, Nerd City flipping shows these kids crying because they think it's real. And I'm talking kid after kid after kid uploaded to YouTube. That's just something to add in. There's something even crazier that I never knew. Something even crazier here that's gonna just make you flip the hell out, man. Like, let me see if I can find it. He does this really awesome skit while he talks about it. But really, the main thing you gotta know is all of Jake Paul's merch, which is what he makes all of his money off of, isn't really Jake Paul doing anything. It's clip art. It's freaking clip art. Like, this isn't a joke. Listen to this.
Became a bit of a meme. But if we're talking about cheap clothes, Jake knows that the real meme should be chanting clip art back at him, because his merch is filled with clip art. I isolated the graphics in his hideous looking fashion line, reverse image searched them, and got a bunch of hits. He says he's a fashion designer. No, he's catfishing the public with this merch.
He takes all of his merch, and instead of just sitting down at Photoshop and drawing it, he downloads it off Microsoft's clip art and puts it in his merch. All of it.
Wave design.
Even the fonts for the letters. Watch this shit. And this is I'm not going to steal any more of Nerd City's video, but of course I'm playing this, and I'm telling you this because I'd love for you to go watch Nerd City's video after the live show if you're watching my show. And give it a like, give it a share, and leave a comment so it will rank it in the algorithm. We want this video to get watched by YouTube.
Design. This Lamborghini. This goat. These boxing gloves. The logo for his entire line. The God Church even. All clip art. This is the best looking sweatshirt Jake's got. And that's not saying much. And even this was straight up stolen from a real designer. The guy who was already selling this design.
Can you believe that shit, man? Can you believe it? Okay, now it's time for me to do my thing. Busy, start us off. Before I start the show, please, after this is done, it's Nerd City. Not only if you watch this video will you want to share it and sub to them, but even more so, you're going to want to watch a lot more of their videos. All their popular uploads are really good. They bust out Tana Mojo for using Photoshop to make her butt look good. They bust out Sniper Wolf for doing the same thing and a whole lot more. And they basically show you the hypocrisy that goes in line with getting if you want to get a lot of subs on YouTube, you basically have to tell a lot of lies and push a lot of crap on people. Hi, I'm UNIRock. Welcome to my nightly show. This show's going to be a little bit different than others because we were busy today. And most days when we're busy, I'll do a different kind of show at night. I'll do a shorter show, or I'll do a show where it's really loose and we just talk to each other. But this is going to be a combination of a lot of different show types. For one, there is a lot of stuff I want to show you. For two, you know I invited people on the show tonight. For three, I want to talk to my subscriber base. That's you. And four, I want to watch a lot of YouTube videos with you at the end of this that I haven't got to watch because I wasn't really super busy all day. So basically, I paid some bills, went to some stores, did stuff that we had to do, and I was up really late last night, got up really early today, took a little bit of a nap, and I didn't get to do what I normally do during the day, which is work on, you know, my normal video content in the morning, and then produce a night show, a live show for the evening live dive. I didn't get to do the producing for the evening live dive. Anyway, it's gonna be okay. So don't worry. Hopefully, Cappy, Nathan, and Vegan Mikey, maybe they'll pop in the live chat while we're talking and they'll want to come talk. They're more than welcome to. I've been checking Twitter throughout the day, haven't heard back from them, but it doesn't mean they're not coming, so don't flip out or nothing. Don't send them any mean tweets. Don't get mad because I didn't give them much notice, so you got to expect it might take a couple days, but we're going to get them in here. I know they'll come talk because they say they don't have anything to hide. They say that, you know, they want to just get their message out to people. And I think that they need, you know, to come here and do it because we are very critical of this whole story so far. I'm not going to go into that now. When I go to the live chat, I'll talk to you guys about it, I suppose. But where do I want to go after this? Well, I want to remind you again to go watch Nerd City's video, The Parents' Worst Nightmare, Jake Paul. Their newest video just released today. Already at 136,000 views. Can we get it to 1 million by tomorrow night? That would be so awesome. And make sure you're subscribed with the bell turned on for not only all my 4 channels, UNIRock, UNIRocktv, Busy, and UNIRage, but Nerd City also, because they are willing to criticize, be criticized, think through things, show the reasons why they believe what they do. They are logical. Unsub from everyone on YouTube. This is my advice. Unsub from everyone. Then go find a lot of logical people, happy, positive, kind people, and sub to them, okay? Not even saying you got to do it to me. Just sub to them, because that's what we need right now. And because in this show tonight, before I go to the live chat and talk and hang and watch videos later, man, do we got a lot of disinformation. Do we have a lot of really just... We got a lot of bad stuff going on YouTube right now. We do. And why? Pause it, Biz. Busy's just now getting his act together. Isn't that right, Busy? Uh-huh. I know, right? Get Biscuit to wake up, get him on the drums, and get your butt at the control panel. We're about to start this off. You're going to have to plug in the billboard in like 2 minutes here. 2 seconds. There's a lot of disinformation going around on YouTube. And you know why that is, don't you? Because YouTube, I've been noticing, and this is from not only my perspective, but Doc Lupo's been on YouTube for like 8 years. And Doc Lupo has noticed on YouTube that YouTube operates by seasons. Not the seasons we know of, winter and summer. But YouTube has periods where there's a lot more views, and YouTube has periods where there's a lot less views. We just went from a period of the lowest views I've seen in months across the majority of YouTube, all the way up to the highest views I've seen in months for the majority of YouTube in approximately about 5 days. 5 days is all it took for me to see all these new views rush in. And I'm not just talking about my channel, y'all. I'm talking about everyone's channel who's currently producing active content on YouTube, which is a good thing. But it also means that there is a lot of money to be made right now with all of those new views. And there's a lot of people fighting to get your views right now. And you know how a lot of them are fighting for the views. In very, what's the word we should use? I don't even know what word to use, but in very shady kind of ways. Is that a good way to put it? All right, it is 9/1. Well, it just turned to 9/2, but this is 9/1. This is the evening of 9/1. The 9/1 of 2018. This is September 1st. I'm UNIRock. Thanks for being here for my nightly show, The Live Dive. It's going to be a loose show. Not going to be as organized as usual, but man, we're just going to have a lot of fun. You know my Twitter's @UNIRocktv. Follow all 4 of my channels. Fist bump the like button. Make sure you share this. And let's get this pumping tonight on the Live Dive. Set me, set me, set me. Who we got here? Jamie Winters, hey. Martha, Kia Bell, Ray, Nana, Martha, Flyboy, Sigue. Sigue, what happened, bro? Damn, Sigue. Man, I liked you, Sigue. Too bad. Martha, Ghost Particle, Scotty, Karate, Denny, Anna, Spirit, Michelle Miller, Jessica. Good to see you. Vinny, Joshua. Hey, what's up, y'all? All right, let's get it moving. Let's do this, y'all, because we're going to start somewhere where we wouldn't normally. Don't touch my French toast. Don't label my toast. Master Nar. So what we got? What are we starting with? Well, I want to start somewhere where I want to start. I want to start off by inviting a couple more people on the show later on down the line, down through the week, maybe in the weekend. Hopefully not the beginning of next week, but I want to invite 3 or 4 different channels on the show. One is Authentic Intent. Authentic, well, if I get this to work, Authentic Intent. Now, he is a channel who has been on UNIRock before. I've talked to him before randomly because, like, I was doing a video on why people believe in the flat earth, because I don't. I'm a globe earther. I just try to respect everyone's beliefs. And I was doing a video on why people believe in the flat earth, what makes them believe in it. And I guess he saw the video and he was in my chat, and I ended up looking at his channel. He ended up talking to me in my chat, and I was like, come in for a show, and we talked once. This was a long time ago. I want to invite him. I want to invite Greedysapien in for a show. Greedysapien is known for debunking the flat earth. Yes. I'd love to invite Mr. Stick on for a show, or is it Professor? It's Professor Stick. Professor Stick, I'm so sorry. Don't look at me like that. I want to invite him because he also debunks the flat earth. And then there's going to be another one. Some of you are going to be like, dude, are you serious? Yeah, I want Jaren ISM to come talk. Jaren ISM just went to this, the Flat Earth International Conference in Canada 2018. Now, I'm not going to try to get you to believe in the flat earth, because I don't. But I'm also, if you do believe in the flat earth, I'm not going to try to get you to believe in the round earth. I just want us all to get along and talk nice. And so much trolling goes on. And I'll say this, man. I know that you try to go talk to a flat earth live chat and ask some questions. They're going to be mean as hell to you. They really are. But I used to think it was a product of them being trolled so much that they became defensive anytime someone asked a question. I want to find out if that's true. I want to know, can you get 2 people that debunk the flat earth and 2 people that don't debunk the flat earth into a live chat at the same time and be able to talk in a normal adult way, intelligently? I want to do it. I'm going to try to do it. I hope at least 1 debunker and at least 1 believer will come in and talk with me, someone that respects both sides. But like I said, I'm a glober myself. I know, right? I'm just a globulist, or whatever they call it. So the first thing we're going to look at is Flat Earth International Convention 2018 Canada, Day 1, Session 1. Robbie Davidson, Rick Hummer, and Mark Sargent. And I heard him say something while listening to this conference. And, man, Daniel Bell. You just didn't have your name in the chat when I looked. How you doing, man? I just didn't know what to think about this. Take a listen.
There's a reason why they call it programming. It's the same reason that textbooks are picked by a curriculum director. They have school boards that vote.
Yeah, once again, I don't... How do you expect them to pick the curriculum if they don't have groups of people that talk about the curriculum?
And I suggest...
I'm not attacking Flat Earth, by the way. This was definitely in need of criticism.
I highly suggest any of you parents out there that have students or children in a public school, you better find out who that curriculum director is.
Dude. Bruh.
And you better pay attention to who the school board members are.
Dude. Bruh. They're members of the community. How do I know? Because I checked. I checked my community. They're not from, like, NASA or something. They're members of our community. Yeah, they are, all of them.
And if I were you, I'd get them out of the schools.
There you go. If I were you, I'd get them out of the schools. So what I've been doing the last couple weeks, as you know, some of you may know this, some of you may not, I've been trying to figure out ways to bridge the communities back together, right? Look, here's the deal. There's one thing that we all have in common. I don't care if you are a glober, a flat earther. I don't care if you believe in UFOs. If you don't, I don't care if you believe we went to the moon or if you didn't. One thing that we all, two things that we all have in common. We all think differently from the normal populace of people in a good way. And two is in the last few years, let's say 5. In the last 5 years, we have isolated ourselves and grouped up. Isn't that the thing we are against, by the way? Blindly grouping up with people. Oh, we're not blindly. Yeah, you are. You're blindly doing it off YouTube videos. You're not doing the work yourselves. What I always try to do, and I don't know if you do this or not, I hope you do. Don't get mad at me. What I always do, if I want to watch a video, let's say I'm about to click on a flat earth video because it just pops up in my feed, right? And I'm sorry, I'm only using the topic of flat earth in this discussion because it was on my feed, and this was, well, it wasn't this video, but one of the videos for this Flat Earth International Conference was in my feed, so I watched it. Anytime I watch a video, like let's say I click this, and it's a lot of guys, and they're sitting around talking about how the earth is flat. I make sure that after I've watched that, I type in the counter argument. Okay? Now, I think it's something we all should do, right? Type in the counter argument. Type in reasons that the earth isn't flat. Debunking flat earth. And watch at least the same amount of time that you watched a video that was for it. Watch reasons why people are against it. You gotta start doing this, man. If you don't, I know many of you do, but one thing that's happened is we have been so quick to exist inside of a bubble on YouTube. It's starting to separate people, and people are so hard separated. A lot of them, there's not going to be any hope of uniting them back together. But really, shouldn't we all be united together? There's people out there that believe we didn't go to the moon. There's people that believe we did. There's people that believe we faked a couple of them but went to most of them. You know, there's people that have all different thoughts, but the one thing they all have in common is that they challenge the mainstream narrative. And wouldn't you think that the people that challenge the mainstream narrative all group together? That's just not true. And you know it's not true. It's a bunch of communities that kind of group together outside of what the mainstream narrative is. We are, you know, destroying our argument, because you have to admit something. Even if we are wrong on certain points of what we're saying, and we don't know, right? A lot of this can't be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. It just has a lot of circumstantial evidence to it. That's why it's not fact and it's a conspiracy. Yes, that's true. If you were to prove something well beyond the shadow of a doubt, scientifically, it becomes truth. Okay? If you are to take a lot of circumstantial evidence to try to prove something, it's not truth. Right? It could be called a conspiracy, mystery, challenging the mainstream narrative, whatever you want to call it. So what I'm trying to say is, we got to stop this shit. Get united back together. We have to all work together, man. If, regardless of what it is, if you're thinking outside of the box, we all should be able to talk. That has been lost. I watched Greedysapien. He's one of the people I've invited on my show. And I can't get Jerry to freaking message me back. Jerry, dude, I'm seriously, man. I'm not freaking against you. I'm not a flat earther. I'm not like, I don't want any trolling to go around at all. I want us to start talking to other people. I want us, like, look, I know that Authentic Intent is a very smart guy when it comes to why he believes in flat earth. Now, his channel is centered on going out in the public and speaking to other people about why they don't believe in the flat earth and that telling them that they should. Greedysapien has his channel around showing where flat earthers get it wrong completely on so many levels. Now, you could say that they don't get it wrong, Uni, because flat earthers are right that the earth's flat. Well, I don't care what you think about it. One thing that they're wrong about is the earth rotating. They say that when a plane leaves the surface, the plane should be affected because the spin of the earth will make the plane go faster. No, the plane is bound to gravity. The plane surfs. That's how a plane works. It surfs on wind, and the wind is also rotating with the earth. It is, yeah. So the plane itself isn't gonna detach from the. That's why if you jump in the air, the earth doesn't just sway out from under you, right? You get what I'm saying. So there are things that everyone's wrong on. And Greedysapien, I was mentioning him and I got lost. Greedysapien attempts to debunk certain fallacies that flat earthers 100% are wrong on, that he can just show them with a very simple means, which I love his channel for that. If I am watching a flat earth video, if it comes up in my feed, I want to see what they're saying. I want to think about it. I want to see if I agree with anything. Typically, I never get to the other end and have hard evidence enough to convince me of one way or the other. And then when I go listen to Greedysapien, I realize, oh, that's why. Professor Stick does that too. Let's hear him talk just a tiny bit more.
Because they're not learning the truth. And the sad thing is, a lot of the stuff that the kids are learning, they're learning it from other kids. So I'm not going to rag on public school completely because there are some good ones out there.
No, he's ragging on public schools completely, for one. And one thing that we tend to do is garner a very prejudicial thought process. Actually, do you know that most public schools differ completely based on what teacher you have? Seriously, go check it out for yourself if you don't believe me. Even if a teacher is teaching a specific curriculum, it really depends on the teacher's point of view and what the teacher decides to show and doesn't show. Therefore, all of this stuff about grouping every public school is this horribly bad thing. It's just wrong. Also, you can't get mad. The flat earth system is getting mad at schools for teaching a round earth. But what they don't realize is physics backs up the round earth. Physics, like the equations, the mathematics. Because the physics backs up the round earth, it is taught in the school. I don't think we should argue with that. I think that what you should do is kids should definitely be going to school and getting a good education. I think that's a reason we have a lot of the problems we have today on YouTube. A lot of uneducated people, even as adults, they don't bother to sit down and try to learn something before they do a video themselves, right? And I just think it would help out immensely if instead of us demonizing things to prove our points, we just try to prove our points. Do you get me? All right, I'll shut up.
Out there, and there are people in the public school systems that are doing their job the best that they can, but literally the dominoes are stacked up on them as well.
Well, and I think people that think like this are very much, you know, I won't go there anymore, but let's hear. I think this is a different clip. Let's make sure.
Use what you've been given. Be kind to people. Be loving. Be nurturing. Be comfortable pride that everything's cool. We got this. We know. I know. It's really hard to admit that you've been lied to or you've been duped. It really is. Nobody lied.
No, it's not. It's not hard to admit that if you are one of those people that think outside of the box, in my opinion. I think it's hard to admit that for people that, you know, still think inside of the box, sure. Once you're woke up, once you're like look, I've watched every flat earth video. I've had to, because people want my opinion. They really want to know. They want to convert me. Early on in my YouTube career, many people came into my live chat saying, why don't you believe in the flat earth? You're not. I had Vegan Warrior come on my show and tell me that I wasn't woke because I didn't believe in the flat earth. And I said, no, I think you're not woke because you do. And then he got really mad at me, but I didn't get mad at him. But what I'm trying to say is, why don't we just respect each other's opinions? Because I definitely do respect you if you're a flat earther. And I kind of understand why you are. There are some strange things out there, right? There's some, now I know, right? Uni's doing that thing he does where he lays into what he's saying a point that he's going to make throughout the show tonight. Damn it. Yeah, that is what I'm doing. Let me just go ahead and get to that point really quick. Yep, here we are.
Same size as the sun. Isn't this explanation also possible? They had no answer. Number 4, moon temperature. Science has yet to address this relatively new discovery that the moon generates a cold light. We all know that in the daytime it is 90 degrees in the sunlight, 80 degrees in the shade, depending on conditions. I know I'm not.
So if you don't know what he's talking about, flat earthers measured the moon's temperature using a laser thermometer and found that the light coming off the moon was slightly, very slightly colder than the shade. So you measure the light from the moon, you measure the temperature in the shade. It's actually colder in the light of the moon. Well, that didn't make sense to them, right? Well, there's actually a very good, sensible reason for that. Now, why am I showing you this? Because one of the things when I got assaulted by people that were telling me that I will believe in the flat earth if I just watch the videos they turn into me, and I started watching them, I got really confused by that concept. Why is the moon's light a tiny bit colder there? You know, that's real. You know, I can prove it. Why is that? I found a guy who explains it perfectly and tells you why. Well, no, and here's the point, too. Even if the moon's light's colder, once again, that doesn't mean the Earth's flat. It didn't to me. It just meant that there's some questions that need answered. But a lot of people think that these tiny things, these few tiny details will add up to it. Hear this explanation. And this is why I want you to rethink what you think, not about the flat Earth. If you believe it's flat, believe it's flat. But I want you to be fully able to understand why certain things are how they are. And once you hear this, you'll understand that the moon's light being a slight bit colder has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth or the moon itself.
Exact opposite. When you're in direct moonlight, it's cooler than when you are in the moon's shade. So if you are to try this experiment yourself, you can usually see a couple degrees difference between the moon shade and the moon light.
Before I address this argument, let's take a look at the temperatures that were recorded during this experiment. Oh shit, boys, he's done it! A 0.7 degrees difference. Oh my god, this is beautiful. Oh shit, I've never seen anything like it. Just end me now. A 0.7 degrees difference that most definitely couldn't have been caused by any other factor. After all, it's only 0.7 degrees. Okay, in all seriousness, let's see what is actually happening here. First of all, the moon's light is only a tiny fraction of what the sun would actually provide to us during the day. Not only that, but the majority of light reflected by the moon doesn't even make its way to Earth. Although the moon does reflect infrared radiation, any warming effect isn't significant enough to really have much of an impact. Now that that's out of the way, what really causes this cooling effect under moonlight? Well, the answer is quite simple. It's due to a phenomenon called radiative cooling, which happens during any part of the day, really. When the sun is out, objects sort of absorb heat from the sun.
Now, one reason why I want to show you this concept is because I think Professor Stick explains it perfectly, but it does take a few minutes to explain, and I don't want to go there. I just want to let you know that in the video by Professor Stick, Flat Earthers Conduct and Fail Experiments on Moonlight, he tells you why the concept exists that this man brings up during the conference. But this man brought this up at the conference in 2018, recently, and there was a very logical scientific explanation why this was happening, right? Why is that? Didn't this guy try to go find people that, and I found Professor Stick's video very easily just by searching it. So what I'm saying is, this guy could have debunked this one thing about the moonlight and taken it out of his presentation, but he's still trying to perpetuate this misinformation. Not saying that the Earth isn't flat, not telling you that if you believe that the Earth is flat, you're wrong, not saying that. I'm saying that pieces of misinformation aren't going to help your cause. My cause isn't to prove anything to you about the Earth's shape. There's a million channels out there who are doing a great job showing you why the Earth is round, even by debunking the points that the flat earthers use. And what you end up finding out is that 99% of what the flat earthers, not flat earthers, but flat earth channels, I mean, 99% of what they bring you ends up being misunderstood information, which, shorten that down, it's misinformation, okay? Not insulting you as a flat earther. Why? Because I know that the most important information on any conspiracy or mystery or strange topic actually is always like that. There's always a big, group of the information on anything out there that's fake, and there are very few facts that are actually real, okay? One thing that's very easily debunkable is, one, when boats pass over the horizon. Actually, you can completely prove that the things that the flat earthers are showing us in that concept proves the curve, not the flatness of the Earth, and that's 100% provable. Another one is the laser light that goes over the water. Completely 100% proves a curve. This test has been redone many times by academic and private sources that have shown that the flat earthers simply did it wrong. They rose their laser many feet above the water before they shot it across the surface, and then tried to say that it was, beating the curve. Really, they put the laser in the correct spot, the right sea level up to the right sea level up over there, and the laser didn't shine through. I can show you this for a fact. So that's misinformation. Another one is, when you are standing on a mountain, you can see Chicago and you can see another Jersey or something. I don't know I don't know what two towns it is, but when you stand on this certain mountain, you can see them both, and flat earthers say, look, that proves the Earth's flat. But that actually doesn't. It proves that there's a curve. And if you look into it, you could find out why very easily. So what am I trying to say? There probably are very good reasons that any of you believe that the Earth is flat, okay? There probably is. It's just none of the ones I've just said. Scientifically, 100%. No arguing, no misinterpreting. What can't I say? Well, remember that fact that says that there was a river? Or not a river. That there were 2 points on the Earth, and if you had a stick here and a stick here, that the sun being 900 million miles away, their shadows would be the same on a globe. And it proved the globe, right? And flat earthers said, now hold on a minute, globers. If you instead of being, 900 million miles away, the math works the same if you have the sun closer. If the sun's closer and a smaller size, it works the same for that too. And they're right. So that's a good piece of information. The one thing that has continually made me remain a round earther, glober, whatever you call it, right? The fact that Venus passes in front of the sun in a very predictable way, measured and recorded across the world, solar eclipses, and just a few, or lunar eclipses or solar, I don't know, and a few other concepts are what make me believe still in the globe. But all I really want to do, I want to defeat misinformation, because it will help flat earthers. If you don't argue the ones that are completely debunked 100% with science, if you don't argue that, then people aren't going to be able to shut you down when you're bringing your argument out, okay? So I'm not trying to put down a flat earthers, I'm trying to help them. Same with people that are trying to prove the globe. They do this too. They actually put in misinformation and don't explain things correctly. I just want to make sure you understand that. I'm not against anyone. Completely respect anyone for what they believe. I just want to make sure that when you tell somebody you believe in the flat earth, you're not saying anything about boats, lasers, the moon's temperature, or any of those other scientifically debunked concepts. What else do I have around this? I want to make sure I don't skip any. I got these two things, right? Yes, let me get rid of those. So this is one of my favorite new YouTube channels since I found him. He's been on YouTube for a really long time, Greedysapien. He's had Globebusters make videos, and guess what Globebusters did? I used to respect and like Globebusters. When I wanted to watch a video that talked about why people believe in the flat earth, I would watch a Globebusters video until I saw a live stream they did against Greedysapien. And a couple other channels also do this. People out there, Greedysapien really does do what I just did. He tells you some facts that flat earthers are getting flat wrong. And when he does it, they get so mad that all they do is sit and insult him and call him a liar and call him names and put him down. And I find that to be abhorrent. I find it to be doing the opposite of, and I think the reason the flat earthers are doing it is because Jerry does 100% scientifically debunk them on many of the concepts that they bring out. I'm not telling you he does it to all of them. I'm not saying you can't still believe in the flat earth or that I'm trying to change your mind. I'm just speaking facts. We all have to be okay when people speak facts, and we all should work together to understand each other. But yeah, Jerry has debunked so many of the facts. And instead of Globebusters coming back and telling Jerry why he's wrong, they just insulted him and put him down and proved that they are really not there to foster any type of intelligent conversation. It's almost like what we see continually across the board on YouTube nowadays. When somebody says something to someone else that shows that they did something wrong, instead of the person being like, you know what, I did something wrong, man, I'm going to respond, and, you know, I got to admit, I messed up. That's never what they do on YouTube anymore. There's a few channels that do it. I've watched Greedysapien do it a few times. I've watched Professor Stick do it a few times. My problem? Never once seen any of those Flat Earth channels do it. I wish they would, because then I could watch them more often and respect them. Anyway, let's listen to a short clip of one of Jerry's or Greedysapien's videos. And Greedysapien, will you please be a guest on the live dive, man? We need you here. I want to talk to you about this. I love your videos. You're doing a great job showing where certain concepts that people say prove the flat earth are scientifically wrong. I find it to be an academic, intelligent endeavor that needs to happen. Even if someone wants to convert more flat earthers, they aren't going to be able to do it if they are using debunked concepts. Let's take a listen.
Currently focusing on flying around the globe, I thought I'd take this opportunity to talk about this gentleman, Brian Mullen. Well, specifically, I'm going to talk about his video where he explains what he thinks should happen when a plane flies over a spinning Earth.
Oh my gosh, this is one of the biggest flat earth misinformation pieces. A plane lifting off, knowing that the plane, like, here's what happens. So this guy seems like he's smart, not Greedysapien, the guy in the little square right here. This guy seems pretty smart. It's really surprising to notice that he thinks that when a plane leaves the Earth, that since the Earth is spinning, the plane should either go faster or slower because the Earth should spin out from under the plane. And you got to ask yourself, did this guy even go to school? You got to ask yourself, does this guy even studied how a plane flies before he did his video? Because he makes himself look really dumb. And I'm not trying to put anyone down. I'm saying that, you know, you got to understand that the air itself is also affected by gravity and spinning with the Earth, with the globe model, of course. And you got to understand that it's not a good point to use if you really want people to join the flat Earth. In fact, this one concept is very simply recognized by even 10 and 12-year-olds, 8-year-olds, young children, I'm saying, and it stops many people flat in their tracks from believing the flat Earth. But let's hear what Greedysapien says, and then you should go subscribe to Greedysapien, even if you're especially if you're a flat earther, especially if you're not, just because he's right about the data in his videos. And I think even if you're trying to spread the word of flat Earth, you're going to need to have the pieces of information that are scientifically debunked taken off your list.
People like Dubé and Marble make this same claim all the time, but folks have been linking to him because he's got a solid science and math credential behind him. But just like every human being is from time to time, he's shown that he is susceptible to errors in thinking. But enough of the prelude, let's get into it. Now, Mr. Melon takes a bit to get started, talking about how he's never really thought about the numbers involved in the rotation of the Earth. And then he decided to set up a problem to solve by discussing a trip that he took. Let's let him set it up.
Anyway, one of the first things I did is I set up a problem about the spinning planes. You know, it was a physics problem. I studied relativity. I figured I could do this. The idea of this problem is that we are an observer, a stationary observer, looking at Earth, watching a plane fly. And this is based on a direct flight I took in college from JAX to LAX. The two airports are about 2,000 miles away from each other. And you know, I flew there and then flew back, and I like doing the problem going back because it's more interesting that way. Because you know, we're rotating with the Earth.
The first claim he makes is a solid one.
And also a lot of some flat earthers out there have said things like, you know, if the Earth is rotating 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, you know, planes can't fly that fast, so they can't catch up to it. And that's not really true, because if the plane's already rotating with the Earth when it takes off, it's the speed it gains in the air is added to the initial speed it already had.
No, you just messed up super bad.
But he proceeds to say that there is a problem.
Anyway, this is how Greedysapien brings logic to the conversation. He shows where this person fundamentally gets it wrong, based on all, like, if you're trying to describe why globe earthers, I don't know what to call them, people that believe in the globe, if you're trying to explain why they understand how a plane flies through the air, they understand that the air, the atmosphere, is locked in place, spinning with the Earth, affected by gravity. We don't notice gravity or the spinning of the Earth because of the, you know, enormous mass of the Earth. We don't notice that, you know, throwing a ball through the air doesn't just take off at 1,000 miles per hour with the spin. We notice that if we're in a car, we start driving, you know, the stuff that we let go of in the car doesn't bounce. You know, all of this stuff. We know that a plane catches the air and it creates lift because there is push with the plane, and the wings are catching the air that's propelling the plane up with the momentum of the plane. And since the air is also spinning with the Earth, that's why the air's not hitting you at 1,000 miles per hour at all times with the spin of the Earth. You get what I'm saying? So representing things all wrong and then using that as some type of point completely debunks what you're saying from the very beginning. And that's why I love channels like Greedysapien. They can completely knock arguments off the table that they should have never been there in the first place because people weren't fact-checking when they got their arguments started. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit about this at the what's this thing called? Flat Earth International Conference, or conference. This has to do with what they think about eclipses. And I'm going to tell you why fundamentally this is very bad for the flat Earth argument and why it shouldn't be used, and then how the logic is wrapped in a very bad way.
The Earth is supposedly blocking the sunlight from the moon. Then you would expect to see something on the order of about 4 times that size. It's a little bit less than that, of a shadow on the moon, right? But we don't see that. And in fact, what they tell us is that let me find this here really quick.
First off, I want to say, I don't know what they mean by what they tell us. The things they're telling us in respect to this concept are things that are proven with, you know, mathematical equation and with facts. Not saying that they don't have it wrong. It's possible that they do. But one thing that's happened is a lot of people have, you know, someone made the reasoning for it. They have given the equations, they've given the math, they've given the sizes, they've said why it behaves like it does, they've done observations to prove it, and many other people, we're talking thousands if not millions, have sat down, recreated this, and fact-checked it and been able to say, yeah, and that person becomes a they, someone that fact-checked the original process for how you verify this and how you understand it, right? But like all the different points I've brought up today, from the eclipse to the lasers over the water, to the boats disappearing on the horizon, to the others that I've brought up like the moon temperature, it is scientific, and the planes flying, It is scientifically and fundamentally wrong the way it's being represented by the flat earth community in this. And that's why I think that it's excellent to see people doing what the debunkers are doing, even though they receive so much hate. Now, what is surprising is what the men say about the reasoning or their response to this concept.
Both
Jaren-ism, and I don't know if this is Globebusters. I hope it's not, because that dude, I can't respect him at all after I heard the way he talked about Jerry, when Jerry didn't do anything at all but try to put forth an argument. Instead of trying to show that Jerry's argument was wrong, they literally made fun of him for a long time, and not even in a funny way or trying to be jestful or try to communicate with him. They just blocked him, shut him down, and called him names. It was really horrible.
the sun and eclipsed moon can be simultaneously seen because atmospheric refraction causes each body to appear higher in the sky than their true geometric positions. And to that I say, BS alert, BS alert. That is
No, you can't just say BS alert. You've actually got to show why it's not true. Because refraction can be shown scientifically. You know, it's real. You know, there are examples of it. There are reasons why it happens. In fact, one very simple concept is, if you look how light passes through water, and you can see if you have a straw in a drinking glass and you see that the straw looks like it's been out of shape in the water, and then at the top it looks normal, and you pull it out and it's normal. Well, you can tell there's an optical illusion based on how light travels through water, right? And how light refracts. And if you know that water evaporates into the atmosphere, and certain parts of the atmosphere can become so thick with water that clouds of water form and then rain back down, you know, huge storm clouds full of rain onto the ground, you know that there's a boatload of water in the atmosphere, in the air, in the mist. So wouldn't that light passing through the evaporated water refract also, at least to some degree? And wouldn't that be an argument for the case of refraction in a very non-scientific way of explaining it? Of course it is. Why is he saying it like this? Why does he say that's a bullshit alert? Why are they throwing away all this science when they could pull up the science, show what parts of the science that they think is bullshit, and then go forward to really explain their point of view? But that's not what they do. And I don't know how the audience doesn't get very frustrated. Well, actually, some of the audience did, in fact. At the end of a couple of the speeches, this one included, with Jaren ISM and this guy, the audience, one of them says, I'm a flat earther, but I'd like to know why this is true. They don't answer him. Another woman stands up, hi, I'm a flat earther, but I can't figure out why this is true. They don't answer her either. They just kind of laugh and joke and bring up stuff about how the establishment is against them. And that is the fundamental flaw. And that's what makes the entire concept be discarded by a lot of regular mainstream people that don't bother to try to learn the science behind why things are what they are. They just accept that, well, we don't understand the science and we think it's BS, so we're just going to throw it out the window. All right. And there's I want to watch some of this Flat Earth conference with you guys later on tonight. We might sit down and watch some. We might not. Depends on what happens as we get going. But I still would love to invite Jaren ISM, Greedysapien, Professor Stick. Is it Stick Man or Stick? It's Stick. Professor Stick and Authentic Intent in for a group chat, as long as all parties decide to talk with the interest of understanding each other and with the interest of truth and science as the forefront. Now, I get it. If you disagree with mainstream science, fine. And I'm behind you if you do. Because I disagree with a lot of mainstream science, and I disagree with a lot of mainstream archaeology. But that doesn't mean that I disagree with what science is. The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Science is a flawed thing by definition. It's as flawed as every man or woman that attempt the pursuit of it, because there's only one way to affect science, and that is through observation and then experiment through the scientific method to rule out every single possible thing you can rule out until you're left with the truth. And that, my friends, is the true, logical, and real pursuit of what we all should be doing. Yes, even if we're against mainstream science and a lot of the things they give us, knowing a lot of the lies we've been told, one thing is for sure, science itself isn't bad, because science is the way that we find the truth. Yeah, I really like what you just said, God's Truth War. I always say War Truth. I don't know why I say God's War Truth. God's Truth War says, the problem I have with the flat earth is they readily decry accepted science without bothering to prefer an alternative to, though debunking the globe inherently proves it, yet to see the math. Yeah, exactly. That's my point, really, throughout the entire presentation I just gave. You can't just say, yeah, that doesn't make sense, so it's debunkable and it means the Earth's flat. And that's my whole point. It's like saying NASA's lying, so it means the Earth's flat, or NASA's lying, so it means space doesn't exist. That's not true, really. Proving that NASA is lying proves that NASA lied. Proving anything else past that statement requires investigation, right? Oh, thanks, Neo. I try my best, man. Daniel Pratt, Reshaping Our World, says, show me water wrapping around a ball. Well, the ball would have to have enough mass to then have enough gravity to hold the water to it. So if you take any ball and try to pour water on it, it's not going to stick unless you take a ball. Let's say you take a ball that has a black hole at the center of it. Or something that has an immense amount of mass at the center of it. It'll have a gravitational field. But let's say you take a ball that is full of air. Let's say you take a tennis ball, anything else. You see, one thing that people try to do with the flat Earth is compare something without the mass and density of the Earth to something, you know, small. Or I'm sorry, I said that wrong. With the mass and density of the Earth to something very small. These small objects don't have that much mass. You know that the Earth does, right? You can tell that regardless of if you think the Earth is round or flat, you know that there's a shit ton of dirt under us, a lot of molecules. You know, what I don't even know. I've always wanted to ask a flat earther what they think about microscopes, the microscopic world, the cellular world, like how a cell works and functions. Because you can see it with an electron microscope. You can see down into the cellular world, and you can look at the parts of a cell and see that, you know, each little tiny cell in your body is like a little machine warehouse working to its own effect, right? Spirit of Longthorn, I would discuss flat earth with you whenever you like. Actually, you can do that at any time. You can just turn in videos to my email and to my Discord channel. You know, if you want to make a point, put it in a YouTube video and put it up so that I have source to play from to get you in to talk about. That's why I want to get... Jaren ISM has source to pull from. Authentic Intent does, and the two guys that I want to talk to that debunk parts of the debunked flat earth arguments, not the concept, but arguments and science that adheres to it, also have source to pull from. That's the only reason that I say to try to get YouTubers in to talk about it. Neutral buoyancy doesn't work out because if you're saying the earth is flat, right? why is it that buoyancy always pulls down? Because buoyancy also is affected by gravity here. You know, when you have a very massive, like, bowling ball dropped into water, the bowling ball doesn't go sideways or diagonal. The bowling ball goes down because that's where gravity's pulling. If you have a person jump through the air, they jump up and they go down. Buoyancy would let it go in any direction. Buoyancy isn't adherent to any specific direction at all without gravity. If you take gravity out of the picture, buoyancy doesn't state that there's a specific direction without, you know, some other force acting upon it. Buoyancy in the flat earth argument leaves out the concept of what force is dictating the direction objects go, because without gravity, objects, even factoring in buoyancy, would not just go down. They would just be whatever direction that their energy would propel them. That's one way you can very easily state that. But what a lot of people are not willing to do is look at the effect of all the other different atoms and molecules and different elements out there, and what happens to them when they clump together in large amounts with high density or low density, and then try to compare buoyancy, because it doesn't work. You know what I mean? I think you do. I'm not arguing with you, I'm just saying. Well, you should probably take off then, buddy. If UNIRock is losing you and I'm burning up my credibility with you, then there are a boatload of channels on YouTube that will accept you and love to have you as a subscriber. Look, so honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I love you being here, but if you think I'm not credible and you don't like what I do, I don't expect you to stay here. I don't know why you'd want to be here. Honestly, there's a lot of other shows out there that are pining for subscribers, that need them, that want them. I don't pine for subscribers. I don't need subscribers. I just want the subscribers that like my content to be here, and the ones that don't to not be here. So I'll help you out, and I'll go ahead and ban you out of here, and maybe that'll give you that little bump to go find a YouTuber who has credibility in your eyes, okay? Look, Spirit of Longthorn is one of my, who's here a lot, and I respect, look guys, I said it a million times, I completely respect you if you believe in the flat earth. Don't want to argue with you at all. I respect you, and I thought a lot of you guys respect me for what I think. You know I'm not a flat earther, and you know that I'm not just going to ignore the topic if it comes up in a manner that is worthy of me doing a video or including it in a live dive. So I don't, one thing's for damn sure is I'm not just going to ignore the topic because oh no, what if people who are flat earthers will want to unsub from me? Actually, if me stating my opinion about flat earth bothers anyone, they probably shouldn't be subbed to me at all, right? That's what I think, honestly. Does the neutrality buoyant balloon can move around a room without touching by static energy? Just get a pass. I have, wait, so do me a solid. Email me what you're talking about there. I don't think you worded it in a way that I can, you know, read from a live chat to understand. Just email me about it and I'll figure it out. Jackie says, I just want to know my Patreon account got set up right. It's $4.50 a month. Not very often because I'm fighting pneumonia. Oh, if you want me to check, Jackie, definitely can. I'll even try to check at the end of this video as long as I put a note over here that'll tell me to. Because my mind is mush. And most times of the day, Jackie Turner, check. Will do. Thank you, Jackie. Excellent. I'll go through the Patreon at the end. When I do produced videos, a lot of times I take a screenshot of the Patreon donators and scroll them at the end of a video on UNIRock too. And I haven't done a produced video in a while, or I would do that. I'll do one really soon. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would want to argue about flat earth in the live chat, guys. If you're confident in your belief of the flat earth, then why do you have to argue it with anyone else in the chat, right? Because it's your belief system and you're confident in it. Other people have belief systems that they are confident in. I don't ever see people arguing about religion or arguing about any other belief system that they hold. So I do honestly, regardless of what you think, if just because I give my opinion on the subject does not mean I disrespect you in any way. And it also doesn't mean that I fear the subject also. Truly. Reality 358 said, UNIRock ought to stop. Flat Earth has destroyed tons and tons of guys. What do you even mean by that? UNIRock should stop giving his opinion on something because I believe that Flat Earth has destroyed tons of... What do you mean they've destroyed tons of guys? If that's the case, people shouldn't believe in it then. If your belief destroys people, you definitely shouldn't be believing in that belief. I don't think it does though, guys. Why does it take the same amount of time in a plane to fly from west to east and east to west? Well, that's simple. Because the atmosphere isn't independent from the Earth. It orbits with it. The air... this is basic science, guys. Like, super basic. Here's the Earth, and here's the atmosphere. This entire thing is rotating according to the standard model, which I do have problems with. I've stated a lot of problems that I have with the standard model. Actually, let me do this again, because that'll look funky. Let me do this again. That'll look funky. Okay, so here's the atmosphere. There, that's much easier to see. And the Earth is spinning. Now, so is the atmosphere. So is the Earth. Now, this is a mind trip. Think about this. So is the air. All of it. This entire thing is dependent. It is relative to the spin of the Earth. So when a plane, I don't know why I have to say this. This is way too simple. Okay, this is a plane, and this is the wings. Now, the air hits the plane, hits the wings, and because of the air flowing down off the wings, it's like the plane is cutting through the air. So there is air hitting the wings at a force that lifts the plane. The plane isn't being propelled this way. The plane is being propelled this way. It is the wings that have the air hit it that causes it to lift and fly. So if a plane is inside of this, and I'm not going to explain any more basic science concepts during this show because then it'll just take forever and it'll be very boring. But you could just type this into any YouTube science channel and find a much better explanation than what I will give, since I haven't studied this since I was in high school or middle school. A plane flies because of lift and drag based on air. The air is relative to the Earth. I'm probably using the wrong word saying relative. The air is spinning with the Earth. The plane is spinning with the Earth also. Therefore, in your head, imagine that it's all standing still when you start calculating what the plane does, because the spin of the Earth does not affect the plane, the atmosphere, the Earth itself. All of it is one entity. The atmosphere isn't just sitting still while the Earth's spinning. The atmosphere spins with the Earth. The atmosphere is affected by gravity with the Earth. The gravity of this of the spin is grabbing the air also. Air is not imaginary. It's not, it's not that there's nothing here. One thing that defeats buoyancy, do you want to know the one argument that will completely destroy all of the buoyancy stuff going on in my chat? Why is it then that if you suck all of the air out of a vacuum and leave a ball in it, the ball is still affected by gravity on the Earth? But if you take the vacuum chamber up into space with a ball in it, it will float through it. Whoa! Did UNIRock just completely debunk your buoyancy argument? Yes, I did. A vacuum chamber on the Earth that has 0 air in it whatsoever and just a ball will still have the ball be affected by gravity. It just will not be affected by whatever it is called friction of the ball on the air or the displacement of the air. You get me? So if I take a vacuum chamber, like, you know how you can take glass, remove all the air from it, it becomes a vacuum inside, and you can leave a ball in there. If I turn that upside down, the ball's going to fall to the bottom because gravity is pulling it. Now, if it's buoyancy that's affecting the ball on the Earth, then that ball wouldn't move inside the vacuum. There would be nothing in the vacuum to cause the buoyancy. There is nothing in the vacuum but empty space and the ball once the air has been vacuumed out of the chamber. Like I said, take that glass thing with a wooden bottom vacuum chamber. Once you've vacuumed it and removed the air and you have a ball in it, the ball's being affected by gravity, and fly it up into space. That ball will start floating around in it because there's no gravity up there. That defeats the flat earthers, you know, argument on buoyancy. 100% ultimate slam bam, thank you ma'am debunk. And that is why I say there is too much misinformation around this topic, and it makes people that believe in the flat earth easily debunkable by people that understand these concepts in more of a scope than just this is supposed to happen. See, if you go to school long enough, and I mean school as in, you know, college and through your entire education, and you educate yourself after college, continually read books, continually study how forces work in our world, because I want to understand this world before I leave it. I don't want, you know, I always say I'll sleep when I die. If when I'm not streaming, I'm doing something. I'm reading something. I'm learning something. I am in no means super intelligently smart about all these subjects. No, I have to sit down and study these subjects even before I do a show. Too much shit up here starts getting cramped in. But what I'm telling you is, if you sit down and really do some homework, really go through the equations, the math, the reasons why buoyancy, the buoyancy argument doesn't work for flat Earth, and why there is some other force acting upon these things other than just buoyancy. Do you see why this now makes all these flat earth channels that have come out and told you that buoyancy is the reason that they float in the air when they jump and all these other things happen? It's completely debunkable. It makes them look really not bad and not dumb. It just makes them look uneducated. They didn't, what I mean is, not an insult, but they did not take the time to sit down and educate themselves on every way to understand. So a normal person says, well, if the buoyancy thing is the thing that's pulling me back to the Earth, all we have to do to test that is to go grab a vacuum chamber, get it vacuumed up and ready, and leave an object in it that can be affected by gravity inside of the Earth's atmosphere and within the gravitational pull of the Earth, which is the atmosphere. Why? Why is the atmosphere the thing that dictates the gravitational pull of the Earth? Because the reason that the atmosphere is above the Earth is because it is pulled and affected there by gravity. That's why it stays there. If we didn't have gravity, our atmosphere would, all of the, not atmosphere, but all the air and all of us would float off. That's why. And the only thing that can show that is the vacuum chamber. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I can't give you the best explanation for all this stuff. I can only tell you it how I understand it from what I've studied. That's why I tell you I'm no expert on these certain topics, and I don't ever claim to be, and I don't mind talking through them with you. But one thing I hope you start doing, all of us, is we start taking information, not from people that claim to know what they're talking about, or claim to be experts, or claim to have researched something. Take information from people that prove it, okay? Take information from people that are willing to look at all sides. I think that's the problem, okay? There's a lot of scientific people out there that do look at this stuff from all sides. They write scientific papers. They do their best to, you know, cover all their bases, right? They don't say, hey, it's buoyancy. There you go, haha, prove it. It's like, okay, I'll prove it real quick. I can prove it in 10 minutes with a vacuum chamber. You get me? They don't bother to think about that, and then they go around teaching people. I'm gonna teach you on YouTube that you know, buoyancy, it's not gravity, it's buoyancy. I'm gonna teach you that shit. No, you're not. You're just gonna lie because you didn't bother to look at all sides, research all the data, because you took a shortcut. Taking those intellectual shortcuts gets you nowhere. That's been the entire point of this video up to now, while still respecting you for being a flat earther. You know, I completely respect you for being a flat earther for whatever reason it may be. I just want to make sure you understand the points of flat earth that have been entirely debunked, okay? Because there's a lot that hasn't. Another thing, so we'll just say that all the other things I've named up to now, did I name the Venus thing? I've named the plane thing, showing that this actually doesn't prove a flat earth. It very much proves a round earth. Well, there's one other very simple concept for why I'm a glober, because a lot of people have been asking me this lately, obviously, or I wouldn't be talking about this right now. One other very, simple reason is, if you think about how in an empty space, how any body would form together, it would form into a ball, because a body is, at the microscopic level, a body is a bunch of smaller pieces. So what do you do if you have a bunch of rocks and they're all attracted to each other in an empty space? They're going to clump together in a round way, because they're going to be pulled together at the center, and they're all going to form around that center until they're evenly distributed around it, not a flat it around it. Not trying to be rude. That's why I don't believe in flat earth. The buoyancy thing, I could add that to another reason why. Vacuum chambers also prove without air that there is gravity. There is a force acting upon, because a lot of flat earth channels want to make people think that gravity is non-existent. That's not true. Gravity 100% exists. Hold on, wait, Uni. You can't say that because science can't prove gravity. I know that science can't prove gravity. But if you say that gravity is the force that is pulling down us to the earth, right? And the atmosphere and the tree leaves and anything else that's around the earth, a meteor, anything that comes, right? If you say that there is a force that pulls stuff down, that force then is gravity, regardless of what that force is. If that force turns out to be, a giant named Tim, then the giant named Tim is gravity. If the force ends up being buoyancy, then buoyancy is gravity. Luckily, we know that buoyancy is not gravity, and it's scientifically proven. Very simply, by the way. I think that's another thing that causes a lot of confusion amongst this topic. Some things are very complex to prove, and you have to understand extremely complex science and math to prove it. Luckily, the buoyancy thing isn't. It's hypersensitive. Then there's one other thing. So we've got things form a ball in an empty void space that are pulled together by a force. A force we will define as gravity, okay? Regardless of what that force is. Therefore, you can't just go around and say it's debunked, because there is a force that pulls all things in space together based on their mass. And there is even an equation that represents it, that will predict it 100%. But more than that, on the flat earth model, they say there's this disk where the sun and the moon go around it. And they go around in this circle thing, right? And then we see that, though, there is a planet, though, that transitions in front of the sun at certain times of the year, or every so many years. Every so many years, Venus transits in front of the sun. We can record this, we can prove this, we can even predict this. How is Venus doing that if the sun is inside of a dome with, let me pull this down, the stars being on the dome? Because Venus is said to be part of the wandering stars on the dome, along with Mars and Jupiter and all the others, right? Well, that can't happen. Venus, therefore, would have to be in front of the sun and moon. Venus would have to be in here. We don't see Venus in there with our own eyes from the surface of the earth. So how does that make sense? Well, it makes sense to me because you don't have to be super woke to believe in the solar system, but you also can be super woke and believe in the solar. I think that you can be something called meta woke, ultimate woke, the most woke, and still believe in the solar system, because it takes a lot of thinking to get there. But what is the best part of flat Earth? So I'm going to defend flat Earth for a minute. So hopefully when I go back through chat, no one's shitting on me, because I'm defending flat Earth right now for a second. What's the best part about a flat Earth video? What's the best part about flat Earth? It makes you learn if you're not being lazy. So what do I mean by that? I mean that when I watch a flat Earth video, one of my favorite things to do is to write down or remember the different points that were made. Then to go myself and sit down and prove why the Earth is round, because those don't make sense. Now, the best part about flat Earth is there are several concepts that are very hard to explain, and I'm still trying to explain them. Now, I couldn't tell you what they are right now, because if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said, okay, I need to do that thing with the moon's temperature. That has to be explained. I have to explain, you know, the buoyancy argument. That has to be explained. Well, since last year, when I first started discussing this topic with you, I've sat down and done enough studying and work to be able to prove and debunk all the things I just named. The planes argument, the ships disappearing on the horizon argument, the buoyancy argument, several others. So I'd have to go to my lists and find them. But there are facts that remain, luckily. So it gives us more work to do, because this shit's fun. I know that a lot of the chat gets mad. A lot of people unsub. They usually resub like 3 days later after they chill out anyway. So when I talk about this, but here's, you know, the fact about it. This is the best thing ever, because this is what life's about. It's about being wrong. It's about learning. When I remember when you guys came to me and asked me a year ago and said, UNIRock, we want you to look into flat Earth because we can turn you into a flat earther. I thought you might just turn me into a flat earther. There was a time period there where people would ask me if I was a flat earther or not, and I'd say, well, you know what, right now I'm investigating it and I'm not sure what to think. I said that for a few months about a year ago. When I sat my butt down and did the hard work of learning why everything happens like it does, fact-checking it to see if it was provable or not provable, and getting the help from a few really smart people on the internet by watching their videos like Vsauce, Greedysapien, Professor Stick, Greedysapien more recently, of course, but I ended up discovering that the Earth is still round, in my opinion, and I can prove it to anyone that is open-minded enough to listen, in my opinion. I don't want to. I'm not trying to. My whole presentation didn't involve trying to debunk flat Earth for you, and I don't want to. I would feel bad to do that for you. But I know that for me, and like in reality, I have. Like I've always said, flat Earth is a lot of a religious belief. And it's not a scientific belief. And I think flat earthers admit that. So I don't know why anyone's upset. I don't know why anybody would get mad. As long as you yourself feel that the Earth is flat and you've got your reasons for it, then more power to you, in my opinion. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just saying that. Oh my goodness. Busy, I suppose. So Busy's been wanting me to tell you guys for like 3 days, but I've been preventing from saying it because I wanted to let drama die down. But Busy has a new band member. And you know about Biscuit. Biscuit plays the drums. Busy plays the sax. So you know about them. They have their band. Well, you know you can hear somebody playing the keyboard, tickling the keys, and somebody playing the guitar and bass. Well, he's hired a new member of the Busy band, and he's got a new assistant. And it just so happens to be named Biz Crokin. Yeah, Busy's new assistant is Biz Crokin. I even have a picture of Biz Crokin. Do you want to see it? Because I'll show you Biz Crokin if you want to see Biz Crokin. I'm pulling up a picture of Biz croaking. A video. I've actually got a video of Biz croaking. Oh no, it's a video. Okay. So Busy has a couple new members of his team, and it's Biz croaking. Biz croaking. So we'll just call this member of Busy's team Croaking, because Busy, how you gonna, you got Busy, you got Biz. I always call Busy Biz. That's his nickname anyway. So anyway, just to make sure you know the difference, this is Biz Croaking or Croaking, and then we got Busy the baker and Biscuit the drummer, which we don't talk to Biscuit because Biscuit can't talk. So anyway, okay, let's go to the live chat, see what you think. But guys, please don't fight with me or anyone else. I truly respect you. I really do. I just want you, hopefully, you to know why, you know, it's good to take the flat earth beliefs that haven't been debunked yet and use those, because it's probably unhealthy not to, I suppose. I don't know how else to say it in a polite way. There are other concepts out there that people haven't really debunked. So anyway, let's go to the live chat. Do it, Biz Croaking, do it. Don't tell Biz Croaking, but we went and we took Biz Croaking to the doctor. Biz Croaking got all of his medical problems settled. So you like Biscuit? I do too. I've actually got a picture of Biscuit, but I'm not showing Biscuit yet. Still got to do a little Photoshop work. So, but anyway, we'll even have pictures of Biscuit here soon, and little animations of Biscuit. I like Biscuit. He's such a funky little guy. Such a funky little guy. If you have a flat earth, you have to have a dome. How else would it hold the atmosphere? It would make no sense. But that's kind of true, right? What I think flat earthers that I've talked to now, I'm not saying any of the guys in the chat, so I'm not trying to insult anyone. What I think they believe about the atmosphere is the dome thing, but that it's like what was described by scientists from the 1700s or 1600s, where some of them talked about an ether that was almost thicker than water or something like that, or at least some point of it was, and that we were trapped inside of it. Wouldn't that be strange, though? Holy crap. Maybe, a lot of people, Flat Earth does explain some things, like going to the moon. Oh, no, it doesn't, damn it. Well, I don't know what to think. Jaren ISM was on that, that's why I want to talk to Jaren ISM. But Jaren ISM was on the Flat Earther convention thing, and saying that we couldn't go to the moon because we couldn't land on a circle and walk on a circle. But I don't understand what he means by that. Like, yeah, we could. What? Like, yeah, your feet could be planted on a circle and you could walk on it. Anyway, but, would it make more sense now for people to deny NASA went to the moon because, the moon's close and you could just fly like, what is it, 400 miles, they say, or something? I don't know. See, I don't even know the statistics. Here's the thing. If you think the government can change what you personally see in a telescope, go look through a telescope and see. Very true, Lisa. Or build your own, because you can build your own telescope. But you've never seen it. You're just putting your faith into someone else who said it's seen. I don't think that's true, because we're talking about, laws. No one's seen it. You can't see it. That's another part of this that I never try to explain, because I always say it really wrong. Okay, so flat earthers, you need to watch this too. This is an excellent video. It's not going to debunk anything. Okay, let me see if this brings it up. No, not FPS. How much of our planet can you see at once is like the name of the video. How much of the Earth can you see at once by Vsauce? So, see how Vsauce is showing you that when you look at the Earth, there's still a big old portion of the Earth that you can't see with your eyes because of how the light works at such massive scale at, this area. So they're basically, as you, and I hate describing this because it's hard to describe. So as you raise up, like your eyes can only see like this much. It still looks like a circle, right? Flat earthers are going to love me saying this. I know it looks like a booby, doesn't it? And then as you raise up to here, you're going to see even more space. But guess what Earth looks like? A circle because of that. And this is actually the boundary of what your eye can see. As you raise up more, you're going to get to a point where you always see the same size. But what is the weird fact about this? That the Earth is actually much bigger. The Earth is so big that even with the way light works and how things seem, when you stare directly at it as you lift up away from it, like if you could just lift up off the Earth and look straight down like Google Earth does all the way up, you would only see to a certain point and there would be much more Earth around. Now, some people are going to say, look, that proves the flat Earth because it could curve down like this and then come up and go out flat. You're right. There has to be other things that don't prove the flat Earth or that do. Other tests have to happen to show whether the Earth is flat or not, because just lifting up off the Earth, you're never going to know because of how light works this close to something so massive as the Earth. Okay? So even if you go up a little further, let me do this more circular-like. So even if you go up a little further, let's say you go up to like right here, the most you could see of the Earth would be that same amount every time you look, but it's always going to look circular. So does that mean that the Earth could be flat? Yeah, it does. Luckily, we have other experiments that show whether the Earth is or isn't. Now, do I know for a fact? No. That's why I said I respect you for being a flat earther. That's why I wasn't lying about it. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you I respect you for what you believe and then really not mean it. I truly mean it. I wish I had the faith that you have. I do. I wish I had the ability to be able to say that I could discount many scientific experiments, many different mathematical principles, many different principles of physics and equations of physics. I wish I could discount that stuff and believe in the flat Earth. Now, maybe if I had learned about physics and some other schools of thought when I was in college and high school, I could easily discount. I just can't, though, where I am now. But I do honestly wish I had that level of faith. And I respect you for having it. And that's what I've meant this whole time. This thing really will change the way you think. Because what it says is, you're never... And I think the world is made to be this way, guys. What this says is that the world is built, the way light works and the way that massive objects work, the way it's all built, it's never really seeable at one time with the spectrum of the human eye, or light, and light working with the human eye. You'd have to use X-ray photography, and that's why they have to paint in clouds. Everyone says there's another thing that's kind of debunkable about the flat Earth, but it actually also isn't at the same time. So everybody that talks about flat Earth tries to say that these are all CGI, and they are because they have to be. See that concept that I just showed you, where you raise up and you see a circle? Do you see that right here? Look, this is a real picture of a satellite or a whatever it is, a camera being up there taking a picture, but this is real. Because at this level of height, which would be high enough to make this continent of North America look this big, the light spectrum only shows the circle. Shit, I shouldn't have clicked that. The light spectrum only shows the circle to here. Now, in all reality, now hear me out. In all reality, the Earth really goes up. The Earth is really like this big in this picture. You just cannot see it, and light does not work any further than that. Okay? So the reason why this looks smaller on this picture of Earth and this looks bigger on this picture of Earth, because the camera is closer on this picture of Earth and the camera is up higher on this picture. But because of the way that light works and your eye works with massive objects like the Earth, do you get what I'm saying? It cuts off at a point so that you don't see the rest. Some flat earthers could say, well, this does help prove the flat Earth. Because then how are they proving it, the flat Earth? Well, I know that how they're proving the round Earth is other experiments that, and circumnavigation and things like that. And in all reality, also, the flight paths have also been completely debunked for flat Earth. They say that flight paths are made because the Earth is flat, and that's why they have to be a certain way. That's not true, actually. There are many flight paths that go directly from South America over to South Africa. The flat Earthers just don't want to show them to you. So what really blew my mind about the Vsauce video is after you watch it, you can understand then how you could take a picture with the same camera at, let's say, and I don't think this is the, well, let's say 20% of your raising from the Earth. At 20%, you could take a picture of the height and see this with the continent looking this big, and it'd be a natural photograph. Because the camera itself and the way that the eye works, it cuts off the end of the Earth. The Earth actually goes out like this, far from it. Now, with this picture, there's South America, here's North America. Now, the Earth probably goes out about this much in this picture, about this much more with this picture, when it should go, on this picture, it would go out even more. Because this picture is about 50 to 60% higher off the Earth than it was when it took this picture, and even more with this picture. This picture was, let's say, 80 or 90% up off the Earth as a comparison, and that's why you see even more. Now look, see where this ends? Look, here's the top of North America that includes Canada and near the North Pole, but you don't see that in this picture. Why not? That's how, you know what, I'm just going to play the Vsauce video. I don't care. Let me show you, because I want you guys to understand this, because it helps flat earthers and it helps globe earthers. Take a look.
Geosynchronous satellite at 6 foot 4 kilometers below. So,
hold on, it's right here. I want to show it where he lifts up off the Earth to show. Oh, here, wait, here's a good one too. But no, you've got to watch this yourself, because it explains it. It doesn't debunk flat Earth either, y'all. So you could watch this and be perfectly fine. Damn it, where's the fucking part where that little dude raises off? He's like a little... Wait, is that him? Yeah, here it is. Yep, take a look. So here's Vsauce explaining this much better than I can, but this explains why they say that, wait, those pictures are all CGI, man. No, certain parts of pictures of the blue marble are CGI. That's why there's sex in it, because these irresponsible douchebag, you know, cloud painters on a X-ray photograph that didn't capture the clouds of the Earth so they could get the whole Earth in the frame was taken. Now, a natural picture of the Earth, though, like the ones I showed you here, a natural picture of the Earth, this one's the big picture of the Earth. That's why it looks so fake. But a natural picture of you rising from the Earth like this is explained exactly like this. Now, take a look, because this is going to give it to you, okay? This is going to tell you why these pictures aren't photoshopped or aren't fake.
these spikes extending beyond the geometric horizon are caused by things beyond it that are tall enough to peak above Earth's curvature.
And also, see, another part of Earth's, when you say, yeah, but what do you mean by the whole thing about seeing a city from a certain hill is debunked? Because the Earth isn't just the same height all the way around. So at one point, the Earth could be like this. At another point, the Earth could be like this a lot more, and it all messes with the way you see it.
In the case of Ben Nevis, this includes high elevation parts of Northern Ireland. Okay, enough about the surface and what it's like close up. Let's go further away and see more. This will be fun, but there will be a trade-off. The further away you are from something, the smaller it will appear to be.
And because of this concept, with very massive objects, this type of concept occurs when you take pictures depending on how high you are and how far away you are from the object.
Moving away from Earth will make more area available to see, but that area will take up less of your field of view. It can be difficult to illustrate this in a YouTube video because your field of view, the shape and size of what you can see with your head still, just by moving your eyes around, is about 120 degrees up and down and more than 180 degrees horizontal.
This is a real concept. It can be proven. Now take this in. This is good for all of us to hear, regardless of where we are with where we sit.
Screen is just a window of that space, nowhere close to filling it unless you get uncomfortably close. To help us visualize large apparent sizes, let's replace the spherical Earth with a flat disk that's always the same distance from the observer. This disk can be given an apparent size equal to Earth's from any altitude, and the disk can contain on it everything that would fit within your horizons from any altitude.
Look, see how it's doing it? Look, it's actually doing what these pictures are doing in the model because this is how it works.
Okay, so standing on the surface, looking straight down, Earth will take up nearly a full 180 degrees of your field of view. With your arms extended straight out parallel to Earth, your fingers will point to the edges of the planet, your horizon. From 400 kilometers up, about where the
fair use article in the description. Vsauce, not trying to steal your stuff, but I'm showcasing a short, excellent point you made that I think will help everyone understand how your eyes work when picturing the Earth at a rising rate.
The ISS orbits 3% of the Earth's surface is within your horizon, but the Earth will only take up about 140 degrees.
3% of the Earth is in your field of vision, but only 140 degrees is represented, which shoves less of the Earth in what you see at this height. And as you go up, more of the Earth gets shoved into what you can see at that height. But look right here, as you look at it, you can see that it kind of curves out as it goes. You can see it. I'm not saying that it's not flat, because right here it could just curve right back up and we may not see it, or it could just be a problem with our eyes. I'm trying to make excuses so the flat earthers don't kill me, because I feel like I don't want to change your mind. I just want you to understand what I think and understand what science says.
Degrees of your vision, your fingers would point to Earth's edges if you narrowed your arms' angles each by the width of 2 outstretched fists. One fist is about 10 degrees across at arm's length. Now, you can move your eyes from edge to edge horizontally here, but you can't quite take in the full width vertically. But from more than twice this altitude, 1,000 kilometers away...
See, look at how the Earth changed. Okay, now he just said 1,000 kilometers away. Look how much it changes.
Earth is only 120 degrees across. That's one less fist width.
So the degrees is closing and changing the shape, size, and amount of what you can see, while more of the Earth is getting packed in to the circle of your field of vision, thus changing it as you rise.
Each. This is perfect. That fits within our narrower vertical field of view. So, from 1,000 kilometers up, about 620 miles, you can just start to see Earth as a complete disk right in front of you at once. However, only 7% of Earth fits within the horizon from up.
Only 7% of it's there. There is so much more Earth. The Earth is so entirely massive. The point I'm making is flat earther YouTubers don't want to really sit down and tell you the absolute truth. They always stop. They stop at a certain point. So they go here and they say, look, this doesn't make sense compared to this. Then they stop and say, it means it's CGI and it means the Earth is flat. When in reality, if you with the hard truth, if you really study it, really look at it, really try to understand it based on your eyes, how much you see, the degree of your field of vision, all of these things combined then will equate to a massively more knowledge, bigger understanding of how and why we perceive our reality the way we do.
Up here, images of Earth taken by satellites this far up, like the Suomi NPP, look kind of weird. I mean, North America doesn't actually take up this much of the globe. Earth's one.
And look, that's this picture exactly there. And outstemming. Oh shit! I need to move this down. Outstemming from this picture is way more Earth that you just can't see. It gets cut off because of your field of vision, of your field of view.
120-degree width has been compressed to fit in an image much narrower. Compare Africa from its height to the famous blue marble picture taken from 45,000 kilometers away.
Now this is 45,000 kilometers compared to 1,000 kilometers, yet they look like the same circle. Obviously it's not. Outstretched from here is much more Earth. Outstretched from here is little more Earth.
Away. The latter looks more realistic, like looking at a globe on your desk. Geosynchronous satellites are about 35,000 kilometers high. From their altitude, 43.4%, nearly a whole half of Earth's surface is visible, but the Earth only takes up a meager 17 degrees.
Because of how high you've went, it has shrunk down much, much, much more, right? And you know that happens. But now, because of what you can see in the way that, you know, the curving of it around back of it, and how much of a degree you can see and how much light has to fit into that little tiny spot right there, that where the light all converges at the horizon lines of where the Earth starts to curve around, it looks like this, when right before it looked like this. You see what I'm saying? It's I don't want to say it's a thing of perception. What I want to say it's a thing of where these flat Earth YouTubers should have done their homework. They should have given you the full answer. A lot of them stopped well before any of the other information you just heard comes out. But if you watch this video a few times, like let's say you watch Vsauce's explanation at first and it's hard for you to grasp it, watch it again. Watch the full video. Once you watch it a few times, you actually understand it, because Vsauce is talented with how not only to give you the truth and not only give you what it really is and why it really is the way it is, but he doesn't cut corners. He doesn't just leave out big chunks so that you're stuck like, you know, there's something conspiracy. There's a conspiracy right there. That's why. And then you say, wait a minute. Now, I was also formulating my entire viewpoint of the school system, my entire viewpoint, like all those other crazy things those flat earthers were bitching about throughout their entire presentation, which shouldn't have came out in a flat earth presentation. Should have came out in a fucking, you know, anti-school or an anti-school system presentation, right? Really, it makes you wonder what their agenda is to do something like that to the people that watch. Why not give them the truth? Why not give it to them the full way? Well, because it doesn't fit their narrative. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what makes the flat earthers, not all, and not you if you believe it, because I do respect you, but these guys who will only give you a small little piece of the puzzle just to make you change your worldview to fit their narrative. Some of them it's because it's a political narrative. Some of them because they are so uneducated themselves that they must force themselves to think that way. Whatever it may be, that is the definition of another kind of psyop. Whatever, maybe because they started a long time ago when they were younger, they had this thought process from watching Eric Dubé videos and going on their own flat earth rants that they forced all of this thought process around what they believed, right? And now, if they come out, Jaren ISM, Globebusters, any of the other guys, and actually sit down and go through scientifically, realistically, provably why a lot of the facts they spit are wrong, then they have to admit that everything they've done in their YouTube career is wrong, and they would have to switch up everything they're doing on YouTube. Not saying all of them fit this bill, definitely saying some of them do. And that's why I think you won't get the full truth from not only this thing I've been telling you about in just this video, but you won't get the full truth from many of the YouTubers and many of the people you watch, because they don't take the time to fully educate themselves, and they are too quick to just accept and believe a conspiratorial point of view. What does that sound like? The same thing I was describing yesterday, and the same thing I was describing 2 days before. Sounds like they've got a narrative. They've got a motivation. Sounds like they have a reason to keep you in the dark while claiming that they're bringing you into the light on something, right? Let's move on. All right. Anyway, let me pull up the live chat for a few minutes, and then we'll decide whether I'm going to play a video and talk to you or not. I got to reload my chat. It's messed up. They may on Globebusters. I just can't respect them after the way they treated Greedysapien. It was just really messed up, man. It was just really messed up. And you know what's weird is some of those guys, some of those flat earthers, they just don't, not you guys, I'm talking about the YouTubers. One thing they definitely do is, they're unwilling to hear why certain parts of their presentations are wrong. Not wrong like, you must change your mind, Globebuster, or whoever it is. Let's just pick anyone. Let's make up a new one so no one gets mad. Let's call him, Earth Rounder Debunker. That's his channel name. I don't know. You know, not saying you're wrong in what you think, but saying that the reasons you're sitting there saying you're right are wrong, provably. And we have to be able to approach each other, and I have to be able to say to them, well, this is why. And they have to say, oh, shit. Okay, I get that. That makes sense. Can you prove it? Yep. Okay, prove it. Here you go. Oh, thank you. Let's now, you know, see that, okay, this part of what I'm saying definitely is founded off the wrong information. Let's just jumble it up. Let's get it, you know, let's figure out what the real explanation is and get moving with it. Now, why I say that is, that's how you move forward and accurately represent something. And that's why I feel like a lot of their information isn't accurately represented, you know? Lisa says they don't want to understand, they just want it their way, even though it's wrong. I don't think that's all of them, and I truly don't, but I do think it's the majority of the ones that get mad, curse, put down, fight with other ones. D Marble was doing this to another guy too. D Marble was sitting there like trying to put down one guy because he was showing how wrong D Marble was about the concept of light refraction. He had a couple fundamental problems scientifically, and provably, not on a concept that isn't, and he wouldn't listen no matter what was said. And it could have been because he didn't understand it or because he didn't want to understand it, but either way. I see a spirit. Spirit says blocked. Nope. It'll say you're blocked if you're blocked. And that is how you deal with flat earthers, says Rock Bottom. Domeless says, let's just do the stupid way because it's easier for them. Vanette, I understand the concept of that. I still want to see a real picture of one complete side of the earth as it is, no matter how far away. Okay, so here's a couple. So this is what it looks like when you are, let's say, I think it was 1,000 kilometers or 619 miles above. That's what it looks like when you take a picture from up that high. This is what it looks like when you take a picture from, now that one was probably like 5,000 kilometers or something like that. Now this one is taken at, I want to say 50,000 or 10,000, I don't know, a higher number, but it also was taken with a different kind of camera where the clouds weren't pictured with the, when they took the picture. You know, the type of, in order for them to take the picture at all, they couldn't just do it with a regular camera, or it would have picked barely anything up and you wouldn't have been able to see barely anything. So they had to take the, you know, take the picture with, I don't want to say X-ray, but with a different type of camera. And then because that camera images it through a spectrum of light that isn't seeable with the human eye, but will image it correctly, they had to add in the clouds. And that's why some people color in sex and clone clouds and do all that. And They should have just left it without the damn clouds, personally. Why mess with it at all? But you get what I'm saying. Kind of like NASA and all their documents when my land space shuttles or launch rockets, they use unicorn math. They use flat non-rotating Earth assumption. If you look it up, assumption means to be true. And I would understand why they would do that. You know, yeah, when you launch a rocket or a plane or a paper airplane, you don't have to factor in the spinning of the Earth at all. The only thing you have to factor it in for is where you're leaving the Earth, and where, you know, depending on where you want it to go, you'd have to factor in, you know, well, the Earth is spinning when we launch and we're going to come up here. So instead of us being facing Mars at 80 degrees, we're going to be facing Mars at 82 degrees by the time we launch out. So you get me? Or 80.3 degrees. They have to be very specific, yet so they would have to factor it in for certain reasons, but would not have to factor it in when it comes to the spin of the Earth on the launch or even the flying of a paper airplane. You get me? Yeah, and I didn't mean to go into this. This was just going in because I checked the live chat a little bit ago and people were asking me some stuff. I don't want to ever have to convince you guys of something with the Earth. Believe what you want. You know, just make sure you're taking in all the sides, right? 6th grade science is fun, says RM. It was in 6th grade. It's not anymore. Read that shit a million times by now. Not everything that the government says is a lie. The Earth and planets are spherical. Well, that's my one part of it, too. I don't even know. I've seen Jupiter through a telescope. I've seen Saturn. I think I saw Saturn. It's been so long ago. I was like 12. I've seen the moon a million times. I used to have my own telescope that I'd look at the moon with. Really hard to get the moon. I'd be watching the moon and it'd be moving out by the time I'd stare at it for so long, it would start moving away and I'd have to refocus, you know? They are photoshopped, questionable about the fade. Maybe not completely fake, but definitely around it out. Yeah, no, they have to be. They have to be photoshopped. They are composites. Like, this is admitted. This isn't... Like, a lot of the Flat Earth channels, not you guys, a lot of Flat Earth channels will say, oh yeah, but they're fake images. It's a conspiracy. No, it's not. It's admitted. A composite image is a picture that's made from the combination of multiple images merged into a single surface. You can view my other photos here. Oh, okay, whatever. Definition of composite photograph. A photograph made by combining several distinct photographs, either made one over the other or on the same plate, or made on one print from a number of negatives. Now, how they do this, they can't take a picture. You know, realize there's barely any light out at certain parts of our solar system. You realize this, right? So you could say to yourself, how do you take a picture of Saturn if the sun is super small by out there and there's barely any light getting out to it? Well, you're taking a picture of it through a type of light and photography that doesn't factor in with real light. It factors in with, you know, I forget the name of it. It's kind of like X-ray light, but it's a different kind. And there's actually 3 or 4 different kinds, like the deep purple field and the ultraviolet field and the X-ray field. And then they take all 3 of those and layer them together so they can get an accurate showing of the planet. And then they have to stop and say, okay, now we have to make it colored realistic, because it's actually colored, you know, bright purple or bright red or whatever when you bring it down to the certain field of light a human could see. Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, that's the only way you can photograph a planet that's out further than what the sun's light rays go to illuminate the objects out there, right? To some extent. To some extent. Now, it just depends. Like, once you pass Jupiter and you're taking a picture of Jupiter from the behind, you're not going to see shit. You're not going to see it at all, because it's not reflecting any of the sun's light. So it's all dark. You'd have to use this technique. Once you get out, I think, to Neptune, you can't even see the fucker. So they'd have to take the picture this way. And then it has to be processed through a computer just to be able to show, and composited in a you know, fake way to show what it really looks like. But it is taken, the photography is taken, it is a picture. Do you get where I'm coming from here? That's why you got to study this stuff before you can come straight out and make lectures at a flat earth convention about the nature of reality, because you're misinforming if you're not studying this stuff to understand why it is the way it is. Whoa, NASA's trying to fake us out about what the planets look like. Well, maybe they are, but they are giving us the truth that they're saying they're compositing it, and that the light that isn't great enough at a certain level or at a certain distance. The light isn't great enough to take the picture without using this type of light field, which is not the regular light field. Do you see what I'm saying? I just want to make sure you see what I'm saying. Stop looking at the stars for a while, but in the country, shooting stars, normal thing. Love darkness, out the city. And me too, man. Me too. I hate how it's like I look up at the sky when I'm taking walks now in the evening, and you can barely see any stars. You guys notice this? It did not used to be like that. And then we used to go like 20 miles away from where I used to live, and you could see every star. You could see the Milky Way, the you know, brightness of the center of the sky, what people say is, you know, all the light of the Milky Way, but whatever. It may not be, I don't know. You can see, like, you see satellites. Satellites look like, you know, these really dim stars that float at a constant rate through this top of the sky. You could barely see them, and you got to look, and you're like, once you see them, you're like, oh shit. You can follow them throughout the rest of the sky. You'd see them passing, you know, every so often, and we would lay, like, we used to camp out in a pine forest, but me and my buddies would pull all of our cots out of our tents and go out into a big field and lay there and just stare up at the sky. And it'd be kind of cold, but we would like have sleeping bags, and I'd be like looking up the entire time, like, my God, look at all these stars. I'd fall asleep with my glasses on every night, shooting stars like crazy, satellites going by like crazy. I mean, it just looks so different. The sky at night in the country. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, I know, MD. It doesn't help that I vape even when I have a respiratory infection. In fact, it doesn't. It actually does harm when I vape when I have a respiratory infection that I can't kick. I'm horrible. I need to start taking care of myself. Dude, what are you doing, photo? There. I mean, look at this. That's what it used to look like out there, man. In the country when we would camp out. It would look somewhat like that. All the way out into the horizon, being able to see all the stars. It used to look so... Oh, yeah, there it is. There's like what some people call the arm of the Milky Way. I can't remember if it really is. Let me go to the fucking big board, dude. Like, look at that. My goodness. I always remember that being at the very top of the sky, though, when we were camping out. The very, very top. I want to look at a video of it. Sky at stars at night time lapse. This is like the prettiest thing to look at ever. No, I want a time lapse. Whoa, bro. You can see him moving. Well, you could. Oh, yeah, there we go. There, that's what it looked like. There you go. The center of the, like what they call the arm of the Milky Way, but I don't know if that's true or not, but. Thyme heals respiratory infections. Peppermint hot tea. Okay, will do. Eagle says, I am almost the pilot flying in a commercial jet. I've done 20 roughly. Yep, never seen what you're talking about, says Eagle. I don't know what you guys said before that, though. Burnt said the guy who does the photos of what he's looking at does a really amazing job with some time lapse. Oh wow, look right there. There's Orion. There's Orion right there. Whoa. You see that? The hell was that, bro? Damn, look at Orion. That is Orion, dude. There it is. Look, there's the 3. There's the bow. There's the feet. There's Orion coming in right behind me. Watch. I mean, I won't lie. It completely looks like a dome circling above our heads. I won't lie to you. And I won't lie, I don't understand how it, oh my Jeezy, bro. Where's Orion at? What's that right there? Sirius? Fuck, I forget. Look at that shooting fucking star, dude. Oh, look how low it is. Oh, that could be a bird. I mean, like, dude. There was Orion again. It looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like water. It looks like some type of water flowing over our heads, doesn't it? Going off the flat earth stuff, being that people think that the earth is flat, would they think that other planets are flat too? Something I just thought of. No, they think that other planets are just wandering stars, that they're not planets. From everyone I've talked to, at least. I want to make sure I represent it correctly. This is just what some people have told me. I mean, look at that. You can see it like moving like this. You see it like wrapping around. My God. Wow. Yeah, it looks like a ceiling almost, doesn't it? See, this is the kind of thing I can look at all night, man. I could bore the hell out of y'all. Not often, bro. I sleep. I slept about 4 hours last night, yesterday, whatever. There's just something weird about what I'm seeing right here. I'm trying to understand what it is really quick before I jump out of this. That's the thing. Before I can say, so Spirit says, I love this too, but does it show the curvature of the spinning ball Earth? I don't know if it shows curvature or not, but you know, that's the thing about it. I'd have to sit down and really study where we are on the Earth, what the sky would look like for a flat Earth. How does the flat earthers say it works? The dome. Yeah, wait a minute. How do flat earthers say that the stars move above our heads. If it's a dome. Wouldn't that mean that the stars would have to be locked in place? And I'm being completely real. I'm not trying to be mean. I just want to understand it. Well, thanks, Della, dude. Compatibility with the Nikkor 14 to 24 millimeter lens. Awesome. I want to learn how to do more photography. I guess they would be inside the dome. Tim Osman of the Infinite Plane Society. X-Pac will do. Do you know his email or anything? Or can you want to email him and ask him to come on? I'll have him on. If he wants to email me, I'll have him right on to tell me all this stuff, to sit down and talk to me about it. Because I'd have a lot of questions. Look, I'm going to let this play. Actually, let me stay in it. I want to stay in it. This looks too good. Let me go back. Let's go back to here. Okay. So, like, that's what I was saying. I really do want a few flat earthers and a few flat earth debunkers to come in to talk. And I just want to understand everyone more. I want to know why people believe what they do on one side and why they do on the other. I want to get people in that consider themselves full-time experts studying the flat earth to tell me why, and full-time experts that debunk it to tell me why. Because every time I talk to people on both sides, I know that I understand things a lot better, okay? I don't think I will change my mind. I could. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm a really fair guy. If a dude could come in and lay it all down in front of me and answer the problems I have, just like that one dude that was coming in bringing up buoyancy like crazy, and I didn't see a single word about buoyancy after I debunked it. Because buoyancy is very debunkable when they talk about buoyancy being the thing to replace gravity. That's easily debunkable. I'm not telling you I know what gravity is, other than knowing that it's the force that pulls us towards the center of the earth. Okay, but with after I told you why the whole buoyancy is gravity, or is the reason for gravity thing, is debunked, I didn't hear anyone else talk about it, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's debunked. Like I said, they want to sit and say that, you know, that it's because of air, it's because of your place in the air being heavier than the air, being drawn to the earth, being drawn to the down place. But you can't explain the vacuum, and they can't say that vacuums aren't real. You can actually measure what's inside the vacuum. There are now all kinds of instruments that can do it to show you how much air is still inside of a vacuum after you remove all the air from it, how many particles are still left floating in there. Long story short, guys, though, even talking to people gives me a better perspective, and even if I don't change my mind, I'll still understand it better. I'll probably understand why I'm a glober better and why they're a flat earther better, and then we could just move on and be friends, man. Like, this shit, the flat earth thing shouldn't be a thing that dictates who you talk to and who you don't. Oh, you believe in the globe? Well, I'm not going to talk to you, and I'm not going to conversate with you. You know, and oh, you don't believe in flat earth? Oh yeah, well, we can't be friends. Nah, man, like, or we can't talk intellectually. No, dude, that's not how it works. It shouldn't be that way. A lot of people choose it to be that way because that way they don't have to be challenged in their thought process, because a lot of people get scared when they are challenged in their thought process. You know, if you say something that makes too much sense, am I going to eventually not be a flat earther anymore? Well, then I better not talk to you. That seems more like you're protecting being very protective of a train of thought, right? I'd love to talk to a flat earther all day damn long, and I'd love to talk to a debunker all day long. And I'm like that with everything, though. I'm like that when it comes to flat earth or aliens or anything else. I just want to be educated by people with all kinds of different points of views, right? A lot of times also we realize that some people that we respect as authoritative voices on a subject really aren't, right? I'm not an authoritative voice on flat earth or globe earth. I just try to study my reality and understand it and talk about it on my show. I do know that several people that I thought were very well educated on flat earth really don't have answers. They've just watched YouTube videos. They haven't studied anything. They haven't performed tests. They haven't sat down and done math. They haven't sat down and you know, looked at the physics or theoretical physics of it, tried to explain it or show other equations for why it's not. They just watch a YouTube video and become a YouTube video expert on it, you know, and that's not educating yourself on anything. That's just watching someone else's presentation on something. You know, like I've always said, the only way you can teach somebody on YouTube is if you're an expert in your field. You get me? That's why the only reason I teach you anything is streaming. I only have tutorials on streaming, on video games, and on creating 3D modeling inside of computers because I'm an expert in those things. Or Photoshop and After Effects, and I'm not even an expert in After Effects. I just know how to use it. Video editing is what I meant, other than After Effects. Okay, so let me give you my final thought here on it. Because look, here's the deal. Like I said, when we raise away from the Earth, we don't really know either way. I know because of other scientific experiments. You know that the Earth's flat because of your reasons. Here's the thing, though. Our existence on this Earth works the same whether we're flat Earthers or globe Earthers. I think we should put it behind us just like we put what religion we are behind us before we all hang together, right? And I just seriously want to state it one more time. I fully respect everybody for what they believe. I forget what other video I had pulled up. I want to hear
about an
about
hour.
this.
Staying overnight down the road in Port Hope. And I just wanted to get this out there. Last night, I know UNIRock covered this. We did not cover it on Conspiracy or Not. Here We Come with Rufus Amy and Gandalf the White. But we were talking about Cappy, and we were talking about shill networks. Liz, I still haven't put her video out yet. I told everyone I'm putting it out, so I will be putting it out. Lift the Veil. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. I can't believe. I went over to Truth Inferno because I did do a video on his channel the other day, the Ghost Channel I call it, and he took a couple days off the Cappy scene, and he came back yesterday with this one. And we're going to play a few minutes of it, but I can't stand this guy. I can't stand his foul language, and I can't stand the fact that he gets propped up by this guy. This guy jumps in on an open secret. He starts off with, gotta take a breath. These guys are really, yeah, I'm good. I'm going golfing. I'm relaxed. But LTV comes in. And I held this open, so it's been more than 5 hours. But he comes in right after the Capster calls out an open secret. For those of you who are not aware, an open secret is that documentary that they did not want you to see from Hollywood. The film Hollywood doesn't want you to see. Hollywood's pedophiles and convicted sex offenders. Pretty powerful stuff. They're based in Hollywood, California, so they're based right in Pedoville, USA. And they called out Vegan Mikey. And they called out Voodoo Donuts as a hoax. And they called out Nathan because Nathan said in his video, as you saw, they're controlled opposition. So,
yeah, I'm still in shock over this. I'm still trying to get LTV, Mikey, and Cappy in to talk. But I'm in shock over how, you know, just because an open secret sees the same criticisms that I do and Cappy, which any logical person, any fair person, any person that cares about pedos being arrested should see these criticisms in Mikey or anyone that comes out trying to profit off the issue of child abuse, and YouTube channels that are okay profiting off the issue of child abuse repeatedly. Everyone should have this criticism. Everybody should be okay standing up for it. No one should teeter-totter. Everybody should say, oh, hey, Mikey, you're coming on my channel to reveal something about pedophilia? Well, no pay links. I'm not going to sell any t-shirts while we do it. I'm not going to take any donos while we do it. I'm going to take my stuff out of my about section and not mention it throughout the show. See what I'm saying? Because I don't want to make money off the issue of child abuse, right? Anyone that doesn't see why Vegan Mikey's lying and should be called out, and why it's not okay for them to advertise. I mean, that whole thing was a 40-minute advertisement for the first 40 minutes of the video. We watched it together on Twitter, all of us. So, you know, and if you watched it without me, you heard it too. 40 minutes of them advertising Mikey, advertising pay links, advertising why you should donate, advertising why he's credible. Guys, valid criticism. How does valid criticism turn into an open secret being chills? I just don't understand. Joseph says LTV is trying to push out all other exposing channels and be the only one with his friends. Well, it's not working. And would it surprise you if I told you that all the major truth channels on YouTube feel like LTV is a, you know, doing this all to make money off child abuse? And Titus? Would it surprise you if some of the biggest networks of truth channels and biggest truth channels on YouTube, would it shock you to hear that they think that Titus, Nathan, and all their little friends are the plague of YouTube? Would that surprise you? Della says, by the way, I talked to Frank's son again, and I'm going to get together with him with my bro to catch up, but he had a lot to say about this. Going to try to get him on, but they have been ignoring it. I think that anyone that ignores this is just trying to save their own asses. Because look, I have an audience that's not here just for, like, you know, this stuff, you know. They're here because they like hanging out here and they like the concept of what we do. And that's what I tried to build for 2 years. For 2 years on YouTube, I've tried to build a following that isn't closed-minded people that are just here to do that are here for actually the concept behind what we do, right? The principles behind what we do. And I've succeeded in doing that, which I'm shocked about. I honestly thought we'd ever have 100 people that watched us because I didn't think people would find this popular at all. I'm happy they are. But don't be fooled just because they get a few views on their stuff, 5,000 views, whatever. Don't be fooled because he gets a few views. Those big YouTube channels, those big truth channels, all those people that talk and work together and try to, you know, help each other. If one of them gets censored, try to, you know, just look out for each other's backs because they all feel like they're fighting the good fight. They do not feel like Nathan and LiveDive and Titus and all their little buddies are fighting the good fight. They find that they are doing the opposite. And I know this for an absolute fact. I don't believe... Oh, I'm done on the flat earth for tonight, but I appreciate you. Being honest is different than never lying. Can anyone confirm what channel Uni's playing? Global Agenda. I urge you to subscribe to Global. Global has been going out and clipping things that we should see, and he's making sure that it's collected together in one place, right? It's like he takes all those little Diet Psyop Coca-Cola Classic channels and make sure that he is keeping you updated on the different Diet Psyop Cokes that they're perpetrating. Details of the creators and other service details, but when it ended. Should have said not acknowledge it locally because people are scared having a Comet Ping Pong incident, if you know what I mean. You got to remember an amount of those views is people clicking on it and going, what the hell is this, and clicking on something else. Very much so. Very good point. My chat just skipped. I'm trying to go back to where it was. There we go. I found it. Frank Sr. and Frankie have been worried since PG that someone was going to come up. Oh, damn. Or send a large percentage of sales to No, that doesn't work either, Jessica. That doesn't work either because people get tempted and they end up keeping way more than they think and they come up with excuses and no. You either put up a donation link for like, you know, an organization, a government organization, or a proven organization that helps with the issue of child abuse. You do not take the money yourself. You do not take the money yourself. Can I say this again? You do not ever take the money yourself. Look, I want you to understand this. If Lift the Veil's going to have Mikey on and he was going to ask Mikey the hard questions, make sure Mikey didn't lie. You know, check Mikey on the parts of his stories that were contradictory and didn't make sense and actually were just completely made up. And then not let Mikey put up a pay link and not sell any of his bullshit throughout it, fine. Then he still gets to keep the ad revenue. Now, Lift the Veil is making massive buku bucks on the ad revenue, guys. Because ads did play during that show and during the replay. Oh, wow. So, if ads are playing, he's monetized. Yeah, he is. Unless he played someone else's video clip during it, and he didn't. So it's not like someone else monetized it. He did. He probably made 2,000 bucks, if not 5 or 8 off of all of his views during that whole whistleblower bullshit. Off of the huge amount he got. Why do you have to be so super greedy? Well, I'm glad he was super greedy because it showed his true colors, in my opinion. Burnt says LTV and them are doing it just to make money off of that stuff. It's disgusting in every way. I agree. When questioned during your interview, did the interviewer ask you if you believe in Bigfoot? And if you said no, I don't even know what you mean, David. Rephrase that for me. Okay, I'm back down to where we left off, if it doesn't skip again. Okay, watch Jordan Sather. He's the truth. If you don't believe in Q, you're a sheep. Hilarious and sad. And how many idiotic people follow him like he's totally legit? Good point, man. David, I still remember the groundskeeper in Sky told me he was made to go in the woods to smack sticks on trees because I guess it's a way to communicate with 6'2" MMA fighter Bigfoots. What? I've been told that before I would suggest Canada, but I got banned from ever entering Canada about 20 years ago. I saw that the judge said they have to give the homeless guy all the money now. Whoa, wait a minute, you're shitting me. Oh my god, I gotta do a full video on this. I didn't know that this happened. I was really busy today outside of channel work. Oh my god, we gotta look at that in a minute. Lionel and Sather have gone too far calling out those who question Q or ask for proof. What? What'd they say, Jen? Did he say it recently? Wait a minute, what's Sather done lately anyway? Because I figure if Sather saw my video, I figure he'd actually respond for real this time. Oh my god. 3 helpful hits for red pilling and making money in the crypto market. 3 hints for red pilling to pay the bills and making money in the crypto market. Whoa, baby.
Oh, what up, dicks, to try to help wake our friends and family up. Maybe you're not going to be able to get your talking points, your specific information across to them because maybe their level is just so far down here that you literally can't come down to them.
Do you hear how this man talks? This is a sad, sad guy. I don't even like, I think like he's just falling apart, y'all. It's falling apart for him. He thinks he's so far above everyone else. He said this about the other guys, the other truthers at the Comedy Central thing. He said this. I'm so far above them that I couldn't even talk with them. And now listen to him right here. Have you ever tried to talk to your family and you just can't come down to their level to even talk to them about it? Hey, Sather, what makes you better than everyone else? Hey, Sather, what makes you this, 28-year-old, prodigy on red pilling people when you've been, look, dude, your information's all been debunked, bro. You're holding on to a prayer here and trying to say that you're not praying. You're putting on an act, bro. If you could just drop this shit and do some good content, you'd actually do well with your following. They would probably propel your next phase of content into the next level, but you just can't do it. You're just gonna sit in this mire forever. As long as you've got people clicking your videos, you're right. That's not how it works, dude. You've got a bunch of sheep behind you, bro. You're damaging and misleading them. Now, why are you trying to talk them into buying crypto?
Right? But...
Right? You can't even get down to their level and talk to them, right?
Never underestimate the power of planting that tiny little seed in their sub...
This dude is a narrative planter. This dude is an inceptionalizer. This dude is not about being truthful. He's about scheming people's way into red pilling. Last time he talked, the show before this one, and I hate bringing this up, y'all, but he said that the number one thing about his show is that it's a business. And now listen to this garbage.
Subconscious and letting that grow. And also understand the power of repetition. Okay? Maybe there's some huge...
He's basically telling his audience how he's telling his audience how he red pills them. He's telling these poor people how he has affected their minds. Thank you, Jordan. Meet people where they are at or walk away. I'm just gonna red pill my nephew and make him crazy too. My entire family is asleep. I'm an outcast. Yeah, and you listen to Sather. That's why you're an outcast, bro. You should respect your family enough to say if they're if you can't sit down and talk to them, not because they're lower than you, but because they are on your every other human being, regardless if you think they're lower than you, they are on your level. You're not better than anyone else, guys. That's why, he's not even worth it. But I want to see what company is having him push this. What contract is having him push this.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I am here to welcome Bob Kudla from the company Trade Genius. We talk about the stagnancy of the cryptocurrency markets and how you might actually be able to capitalize on that with his information. Check.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure by talking them into getting into crypto when it's in one of the worst states right now is a great thing, because you're going to make a boatload of cash. Thank God the judge ordered them to hand over all the money. Last week, they told that they were frustrated and betrayed that she still wished to help Mr. Bobbitt. You know what? This woman, I'm about to call her a bitch, this woman is an evil Jordan Sather-like person. She sees this homeless man as someone lower than her, but since she doesn't use drugs, she's higher than him. She can hold his money, then she can go on vacations, buy a BMW, do all these other things with his money, lie to everyone that she didn't do that, just like this is basically a Jordan Sather story right here for what he does to people on YouTube. Lie about what he's really using the money, she's using the money for, and then throw a little sob pity fucking story about how, oh, I'm better than everyone else, and since he uses opiates, I can't give him the money I rosed for him. That'll just kill him, and I'm not gonna do it. Well, then why don't you give the money over to a trust? Why don't you put it into a company that will hold it for him and pay him out every month so that he can live off that $400,000 for the next 10 or 20 years? After they're passing their goal, whatever. Every dollar he touched was used for drugs. You have to prove that. You can't just say it, Jordan Sather. You can't just say that. You've got to prove it. He would absolutely allow an accountant to review the statements to determine how the money was used and what remains. He said that begging for change to buy drugs was better than trying to get money from Mr. D'Amico and Mrs. McClure. They're keeping his money from him. $150,000 remains. Yeah, just give. Every single person I've heard from that has emailed or called is extremely upset and very much want Johnny Bobbitt to receive the money they gave him. They gave it to GoFundMe so that Bobbitt would get it, not the couple. It's looking into the claims of misuse. We'll see what happens.
Here we have an open secret, a very credible source of pedophilia information. And they're just basically calling this out. And they're calling it out like the rest of us in the small corner of the truth community see that this was a magical mystery radio. No, it was a magical mystery tour. There's Uni's right there. That was it from last night. So he's just uploading. Good timing, Uni, to pop in there.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, investigating the Hydra Woo Woo Voodoo Boo Boo. This Uni's head on over to Uni's channel and watch that conversation from last night because he called it out. He saw that it was breaking news and he called it out, right? Global, send me that one, please, if you can. Jeanette Korzenko. I don't know what you... And the real deal. Those attacking and or accusing at Gabe Hoff, I guess Gabe Hoffman was the producer of Open Secret, and they're smoking him, you know. I bet you Hoffman's a Jew. I bet he's Jewish. Okay. I know Nathan says he's got some Jewish blood in him, and Cappy says his dad was a Jew. So
no, Cappy said he was one. I don't care what you are. I don't judge you for your religion. People that judge others for their religion aren't following our Constitution and can't say that they are constitutional in any way. And all of this type of behavior where you think you can point fingers at someone and do all that is even outside of the problem where we have a group of YouTubers thinking they can make money off of this. Pointing fingers. We've got people that go and look at blind items, which is a QAnon. You know what a blind item is? So there are these blind items out on the internet, and you can find them. They're blogs, anonymous blogs that pretend like they're celebrities that don't want to admit who they are. And what these blind item bloggers do is they give you the real secrets. The real secrets. They call out which celebrities are what? Pedophiles. And which of them you got to be mad at and stalk and put down. That's what they do. Go look it up, y'all. Go see it for yourself. A blind item. Now, guess what YouTubers do? With no evidence that this is actually celebrities calling out other celebrities, it looks like it's an anonymous leaker like Q, an 8chan or 4chan troll doing a blog, pretending like they're doing it so they can get donations to their blog account. They go run and pull a QAnon scam on everybody. You know who's the main dude that does the blind items? Well, let's see what we find if we type in blind items. Oh, looky here. Who is it that does the blind items? Wow. You know who I think is the blind item blogger? Do you know who I think is the guy who is the blind item blogger? Well, thanks, Mittens. Hey, I'm glad you're here. You've been here a while. Who do you think is the blind item blogger that pretends to be an anonymous leaker in Hollywood? An anonymous leaker in Hollywood who's releasing secret pedo information to everyone in the QAnon style of doing it, claiming you're someone famous without ever proving anything because you're hiding behind the anonymous veil of the blind item. Who do you think is the blind item? Oh, you could have let Mark's comment go through. I like that comment. Who does it look like is the blind item? Who do you look like that's writing these? Who is the only YouTuber making money off blind items? Who does it look like is blind items? Huh. Ooh. It's all the same YouTuber. Wow, now you understand why I've criticized Mr. Big Mac. He told me to keep his name out of his mouth, so I'm not going to say his name anymore. I haven't in a very long time. I'm doing what he wanted. I'm keeping his name out of my mouth. He reports on himself. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. It's my opinion. So weird. We've got this blog that no one pays attention to but one guy. And every time there's a post, he makes a video on it. Looks like Q. Looks like Pamphlet. Pamphlet puts out stuff on the Q account, runs to the soapbox and talks about it and gets, extra viewers every time Q posts. Same exact concept down to the T. I don't have proof of this, but I don't mind telling you my opinion. I just want you to know you are surrounded. You are surrounded by diet, psyop, coke, YouTubers. Now, I know what you're thinking. Uni, that's dumb and crazy. Why do you call them that? I just make up a fucking title for a show that I think sounds like what's going on. And for some reason, when I see these guys doing this, it's like they are diet flavored. I'm just letting these guys tell their story. Diet flavored truth. But with a very flavor caffeine boost of psyop in that Coca-Cola can you crack open every time you click the video on their channel. Thus, you are watching the diet psyop Coke right in front of your eyes. And also, even worse and more so, every single time these YouTubers are debunked, they don't respond. They just call you a shill. Doesn't matter if you're a Twitter account. Doesn't matter if you're a YouTuber. They call you a shill no matter what if you criticize them. They never respond to the criticism. They lie and say that, no, you're criticizing Vegan Mikey about all this stuff. No, we're criticizing him because he lied about those kids going into the room and didn't call the cops. Said and lied about what he filed the police report on. No, they're mad at Mikey because of this and this, and you should trust Mikey because he filed a police report on this and this. He said that he filed police reports on being gang stalked, but he didn't file police reports on the kids that were injured. Yeah, but he's legit because he didn't file police reports on being he did file police reports on being gang stalked, but that has nothing to do with the kids, and that's the whole reason he came out and revealed his information. Yeah, but he was gang stalked. And I am too. I'm gang stalked too. Feel bad for me. Pity me too. Send me money like him too. Why is Mikey lying about the kids? Diet, psyop, coke. Every time you debunk them and chop a head off of their hydra, they're evil, misleading, lying, disgusting, making money off of the abuse of children hydra. 3 disgusting, poison-spitting heads grow back to replace it. Damn it. That would have sounded so good if I would have clicked the right song. 3 poison-spitting heads grow back to replace it. I'm UNIRock. Wake up. Rise above these evil YouTubers. Don't let Sather tell you who to red pill, how, and why. Just go out there and spit the truth, y'all. Spit the full truth. Nothing but the truth. Fuck all the rest of it. They are digging their own YouTube graves. Let them dig. Let them keep going down. Let them keep misleading all the sheeple that'll follow them. Be nice in those comments. Those are people on the other side, so you should always be kind. Just never be afraid to speak your mind. What are you talking about, Biz? Oh, goodness. No, I do not like Biz Crokin more than I like you. No, he's kind of cute and all. I mean, he is a little frog that helps you play all the music for the show, but still, I think it's cute you named him Biz Crokin. I don't think he's named after that Twitter account. No, I think that his real name was Biz Crokin. I mean, he's a Busy. He's one of you guys, just like Busy the Biscuit, Busy the Baker, Biz Crokin. You know, like your little drummer, the Biscuit. I think that he's a Busy and he croaks because he's a frog. So, well, yeah, he's always croaking. He's always over there croaking and shit. He's just a little dancing frog, and you're Busy, the dancing bread, and Biscuit's the biscuit. No, I'm not gonna do a photo shoot with you guys. Last time we did that, it was really bad. You guys were demanding that I dress up and all this shit. I'm not doing that again. There is no way. No, Busy. I'm not wearing a swimsuit. You better not share that shit on Twitter. You said you'd never mention it. Busy, you're gonna piss me off. No, my Speedo does not go out.